idea, guys, all right? Now, Chatfish won't know about it because it's our little secret. But what we do is we pretend, tell the Chatfish, right? We're like, hey, oh, we're so sorry for being late. We totally weren't fucking around or anything. Oh, hey, Chat, how you doing? Chat's like, listen, Chat, we had to grab articles, okay, you little shits. We were working. That's what we were doing. We were working really hard. That's why we're a few minutes late. Just like,
The real reason, chat, is Robin came in to yell at Kibbs, and now Kibbs has to take out his frustration on Chatfish.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and if you're in the Discord server, you might have seen Robin was in here. We had to take care of some game dev stuff. Some descriptions and things before the next video was finished. So yeah, that's what we were working on. We were working on game dev stuff. But on the bright side, the Lore Bible got some huge updates, right, Chad? Chatfish don't see the benefit because they can't read it. It's like, why can't you read it, Chad? Like, Chatfish illiterate. Chatfish illiterate. Good, Chatfish, good. Now, there's my little D Guardian. There you are. Good. Look at you, you cute little Chatfish. Yeah, you need to get that Chatfish updated. It's very, very, very first gen is what it looks like. Chatfish. Before people got really crazy with their designs. But yes, welcome, Chatfish. Yeah, we've got a lot of new outfits for the model. I've got the McRonin on from the previous stream. All right,
you want the Indio outfit on.
The Indio outfit for Conquistador.
Yeah, bring out the Indio.
Bring out
the Conquistador and
because you could just have Indio there.
Yeah, Indio will be here without being here.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so we've got a lot of game news to go over, and I figured we're going to do this before the Bunchcast because usually how I do this is if something breaking happens, which something did kind of, and also if like we have too much news for the Bunchcast, and so we need to like deflate the pressure so that we actually have stuff for the Bunchcast. Or no, not that.
And also have time to talk about them.
Yeah, because the Bunchcast is also more directed stuff we specifically talking about, whereas Fireside is a bunch of news breaking and we're going over it, and Chatfish can bring in more news.
Yes, they're allowed because I'm
we have a discussion.
So the first bit of news we have is
also.
Oh yeah, I guess we'll do the PSA thing first.
Harlot gifted a membership.
So,
but he didn't hit anyone.
And thank you for the gift of membership. Very generous. Welcome to the stream, little grumpy rat. Okay, I gotta ask, what's with the weird model? This is the Gremlin model. It's the most adorable model we ever had, isn't it?
This is the McRonin version.
Yeah. So the benefit is that we can make a bajillion of these very fast, and Bonin likes making them. And the other thing is, at the end of each week, we have a stretch goal, which we will have a stretch goal this week, where Chat gets to decide what model outfits are added. One of the benefits of this new model is that updates can actually come out within a week to 2 weeks if there's something that sort of like takes a little bit longer. Hence why we have things like the, Conquistador. Like, I'll just run you through it a little bit in case you missed some stuff, because everyone's got busy stuff sometimes, right? Where's the right button? There's so many, right? Like, there's this, oh, look, I got my own personal Indio. And it's honestly getting ridiculous how much stuff there is. So we're going to have to, like, slow down because I'm going to have to map out these keys, the weird, freaky Chatfish.
I'm going to have to create a sheet
We
for
need to get
Gibbs.
a better Chatfish companion. This one's weird and licky. We need one that's, like, not like that.
This one's weird and licky.
Yeah, I know,
licky,
right?
That's how you describe it.
I'm a pick. Wait, why am I a pickle?
Chatfish love the licking Chatfish, though.
Oh, because the wizard hat's attached to shift 1. Oh, hey, I got glasses.
And the pickle.
Some models are not necessarily compatible with each other. Though surprisingly, the pickle one doesn't look terrible. Though it does look kind of weird. No, it looks terrible, actually. It looks terrible.
Pickle wizard.
Yeah, the McRonin, isn't really a outfit toggle.
Yee. Oh my god, it is actually hard to map how many of them there are. But this is...
Okay, so we're going to sit down and make a sheet for you.
Yeah, we're going to have to. But the name of this model is called the Gremlin. And what makes the Gremlin so good is that it's actually 100 times more expressive. than the other ones. The other ones were, anime girl.
The
And
Mick might be harder to really see expressions because it's missing an eye.
yeah, it's a little bit crippled. So, and the other benefit, chat, you want to know the best part? Nobody comes in here and does that really gay thing about like, I forget what the
I
thing
can't goon to this.
or no, it's like, oh, it's a girl with a guy thing. Like now I don't have to deal with that anymore. I no longer get hassled by weird gooners. Oh
This is
my
why,
god,
chat, we
this is
need to fund
unironically the best thing that has ever happened. I cannot express how happy I am that that you guys like this over the other one.
This is why, chat, we need to fund the Double D gremlin.
No.
Oh my god.
Hashtag Double D's, chat.
It's unironically amazing. There's nothing greater and more happier in my life than I have been with this. No longer will I be bothered by people. No longer will people harass me or actually stalk me or like do really weird, creepy things. Because it actually,
says,
like, I'm not going to lie. Shut up. I'm not going to lie. All right. Like, the thing is that at first, like, when it happens, you just ignore it. Right. But after like months of it ongoing, you do get really sick of it. Like, it gets on your nerves. And I gotta say, it's nice not being stalked for a change. Genuinely.
Well, chat, if you prefer a specific model or version of Aerith, $10 to change the model and it'll be up for
Now,
an
shush.
hour.
More importantly, we need to talk about the articles because it's time to move on. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, the FBI issued a flash notice identifying 18 popular router models. Now, this article I'm bringing up now, I usually let the Bucky stuff wait till Bucky gets here because this is more of like a PSA. So this might affect you guys, but I'm going to read the whole thing, okay? Targeted in a large malware operation, affected models include routers from D-Link, Netgear, TP-Link, and Zyxel. Attackers exploited known vulnerabilities to install malware called AV Recon, turning compromised devices into residential proxies, essentially renting out access to your home network to criminals who use it to hide their identity online. The FBI estimates access to around 369,000 devices has been sold since 2020 across more than 160 countries. My take, I don't care. Moving on. So, the affected things here is this. List of top 20 most represented device models. The D-Link, DRI, you can see all the stuff. No, I'm not going to read all the model numbers. It's nuts. But anyway, here you go, right? There's the Netgear ones, the Hikvision ones, the D-Link ones, the TP-Link, and the Zyxel. So if you're worried about it or concerned about it, there you go, Chatfish. Now you know. You're covered. You're good to go. You're golden. Wonderful. All right, so moving on with our lives. Next
Before
article.
you move on,
What do you want, Champa? I'm trying to do my job.
announce the Fire Warrior thing.
Slacker. I don't want to announce that. That means Chat could get stuff. We don't want that. All right. I suppose Chatfish are allowed. So, as it turns out, my theory about you guys not actually raising the all the stretch goal amounts was correct because there was a miscalculation. Is correct. I know. Kib genius, right? But as I said, if there was a clerical error, we would extend it. The extension will be for this stream and maybe the next stream. I'll see how generous I feel, how close you guys get. And by the way, the Fire Warrior stream was already funded, so don't worry about it. So was the drunk version as well. That was funded. The stretch goals for getting the statue was not reached. The statue required the total at $6,000. We are at $5,831. Bear in mind that each donation, like the previous stream, will have double purchase power, meaning $1 is $2, $5 is $10, $50 is $100. So the same rules from yesterday apply to today because there was a miscalculation. So the statue is still within reach. That stretch goal is. An added stretch goal to today will be that we will allow Jake to also make the Cursed Fire Warrior art. That will be at 6,500, and that is the final stretch goal. D Guardian says, so $65 left? Yeah, pretty much. Because everything's doubled, right? Or I can't do math. You know what I mean. I'm sure you know. But yeah, every donation is doubled for the Fire Warrior. And that applies today, and that applies to Harlot's donation right there. So his £5 is now £10 or whatever.
It's £4.99.
Oh, for whatever. Whatever. Thank you, the nation.
Yeah,
Don't you
commit,
whatever me. It matters.
I know, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, it's a penny off or whatever. So, like, either way, the thing there is that is now double. So now you're 10 or 10-ish pounds closer, right? But that pounds are worth more than dollars. You know what I mean, chat? Economics, math, numbers. Like, whoa.
I know that's why Rampy and I are here.
Yeah. There you go. I hope you feel happy, chat. Like,
And
yeah,
Hans and Bucky.
we're pretty happy with numbers and stuff, says Chatfish to Kib.
Numbers are pretty great, aren't they, Chatfish?
Yeah. It's beautiful. Now, moving on with my life yet again, we must talk about the next thing. What's the next thing, you ask? Well, the next thing is... This we kind of talked about in the last stream, but it's getting a lot more traction, and so I figured we'd address it one more time. Holy schmackarolies. Well, Gino Pormore donates 200 generous dollar dues. Very generous. Thank you very much. And so did Harlot, gifts of membership. Thank you both. He says, hi, Kyle and crew. Hope you are all well. Why do you guys call me by my name? That's weird. You call me Kips, not Kyle. That's weird. Are all well. What do you all think of Mass Effect series? Should do moving ahead after Andromeda? Should there be... My mouse is in the way. Should there be a return to Mass Effect 1? Thanks. And thank you for your incredibly generous donation. Very much appreciated. To answer that question, what do I think? And then we'll start with me, and then Chumpa, and then Fuzzy. And we'll go through that. Now, for me, Mass Effect returning to... Let me read that one more time. Mass Effect series should do moving ahead after Andromeda. Should there be a return to Mass Effect 1? Thanks. I mean, they're already... So, one thing I'm going to add here is they're already working on a new Mass Effect. It's a continuation after 3, so it's Mass Effect 4, technically speaking, right? So it's already in development. But what I think they should do for the Mass Effect franchise, honestly, rebooting it would not be a good idea. Like, rebooting it would be a bad idea. I think there's two options. You can make a prequel story about, like, humanity encountering the Turians and the Council, and that could be cool, which would be a little bit more linear, but you'd have to really focus on writing human characters and make them interesting. This is where I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people might have different opinions on, so there's no right or wrong here. I know a lot of writers... Well, actually, no. I know a single wannabe writer who basically told me along the lines that, like, humans aren't interesting, and humans aren't that interesting. Like, if you're going to make it a sci-fi setting, you have to have, like, aliens, and you got to make the aliens, like, the good guys and playable or talkable, right? Because, like, humans are boring. And I'm like, I think that's dumb. I disagree with that. And my disagreement with that comes from the fact that I think humans are incredibly amazing. And that all aliens or fantasy races in any setting are actually just modeled after us. They always are. They're more or less. There are some differences, like some might be modeled after bugs, like the arachnids from Starship Troopers, but 90% of other races, like, are modeled after humans. Warcraft orcs are literally, like, Mongol, Tengri kind of inspired. Like, just as an example, the Warhammer orcs are modeled after British people, That was too good. I couldn't not do that. And so that's, like, the general rule of thumb for that. So when it comes down to it, that's what their, inspirations are. So yeah, I think they could do a prequel. I think a prequel could be cool, and that's why I would argue for it. I know some people might disagree because they're like, oh, but I can't have a Turian companion, and I can't have, like, an Asari, or like that. And it's like, yeah, but it still would be cool to see more of the universe explored from a different, like, perspective. It doesn't have to be the same formula. And I think the issue with Mass Effect is that everybody wants a Normandy ship formula. They want the Normandy ship. They want the ship as the hub for the player, and they want the hub world design from all the other Mass Effect games. And I think that is kind of short-sighted because it means every game is going to be formulaic. Here's my two binary choices that, don't really matter because they never did in the other games. It's like at the end of Mass Effect 1, do you kill the Council? Do you not? Did it matter? No. At the end, like, did you put Adina or the other guy in charge? Did it matter? No. Like, did you save the station from Cerberus? Did it matter? Did it not? No. did you save the Arachnid Queen or whatever the fuck her name was? Or the Rachni. Yeah, the Rachni Queen. What does it equate to? It's 5 points in the war score thing. There was not even a cutscene for it. Modders had to do that, for God's sake. Like, it'd be one thing if they paid lip service to, but it was very clear that BioWare was out of their depth when they did Mass Effect the first time. So perhaps instead of trying to shoot for the stars and then colossally miss and then be laughed at with Mass Effect 3, perhaps have more tempered expectations and just, try the moon, perhaps. let's aim for the moon. That's a little closer. It's a little bit more reasonable and a little bit more realistic. It's within our grasp.
The major issue they have, or the way they made the games, is it was always going to feel lacking in the next game, whatever you did in the previous game, because the way it was set up, they basically would have needed to make like 3 different games.
Yeah, to make your endings actually matter. That's why if you're going to give players a big choice, like an actual big choice, like this choice is supposed to be big, then you've got to commit to that. And so any section that's affected by needs to be 2 different paths. And if you know your story's only going to have 3 games to begin with, okay, that kind of helps because then you can kind of like mitigate that because you can plan that out in advance. But the issue is it felt kind of like Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 kind of had an idea. And then Mass Effect 3 just kind of like went like a 90-degree turn to the right, it just went completely different directions, like this way instead. And it's like it changed like the lore about the Leviathan stuff, it changed the lore about the Protheans, it changed the lore about like the Reapers, and it changed like the overall identity because they were too afraid to commit. And some people argue that the story that they had planned for Mass Effect 3 would have been a bad anyways, and whatever they did didn't matter. But I think even if you can't achieve what you wanted, because what they wanted was basically the reveal that was planned, and this is kind of known now, is that it was going to be revealed that the Reapers were merely just a stepping stone towards the actual threat that was supposed to be revealed in 3, right? Which is supposed to be the Dark Energy plot. The Dark Energy plot basically refers to why the Reapers are culling the galaxy every once in a while. Why do the Reapers call the galaxy for races to make more Reapers? They do it because they were created by these like Leviathan things to fight a existential threat that has been basically causing galaxies to like vanish. It's like eldritch horror kinda. And so the Reapers are merely a horrific tool that was created to buy time. And I don't really know much else about what the plot plans were for that because I didn't read much further than that, or if it was ever revealed, or if the writer ever revealed. But yeah, that was like the general gist of it. The Reapers were a necessary, horrific, genocidal tool to create new war machines to fight a thing. And it's not perfect either. It's like, okay, you're liquidating people into making things like, surely there's a better way to make new war machines than that. Come on, man. That's like the most inefficient thing ever. You melt down an entire species to make some like these war machines. But either way, that's where the schism comes into play, because it's like, and then you have the Star Child, and it's like, okay, these 2 different directions are very much opposed to each other. Also, because this is taking longer to get through, because it's actually a big concept to talk about, thank you for your generous 5 gifted memberships, Grumpy Rat, before we move on. Very much appreciated, my dude. Helps us out a ton.
Yep.
Also, that does mean chat is actually less than $100.
We're 96 away.
96 away from
Jake's.
authorizing the Jake creation piece, which I will reach out to him and have him make it then. That's the last stretch goal, by the way. What?
Harlot wants his donations to go to hashtag triple Ds.
Jesus Christ. It's Jason Chatfish.
Will you allow that, Kibbs?
Chatfish can vote or donor war for the outfit ideas. Yes, that is a thing. It's going to compete with the other one that should be ongoing. I don't remember what it was, though. But there should be money down for a different outfit as well. If it was missed, I'll go through the previous stream and get it later. Now.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go through the previous stream, aren't I? More work after stream.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just going to... Okay, so I'm going to put that in donor wars then, Harlot.
Yes,
for
because
Ds.
somebody put money down for the outfit to be something else. But yeah, if the donor war reaches the goal to fund both, I will just allow both to be funded, by the way. But yeah. Either way, moving on. Back to Mass Effect, right? So the issue is that they wrote themselves into a corner, and the writer that wrote that like plot basically left the project. New writer comes in and looks at it and goes like, I have no idea how to finish this. And a part of me doesn't necessarily blame him, but at the same time it's like, well, you should just commit to it. Like, okay, like you may not know what to do, but maybe just like try to figure it out. Instead, he goes a completely different direction. Is like, actually, the Reapers were part of a glitch. They were actually just an accident. The whole thing was a mistake, and Reapers were never meant to work the way they worked, but it was due to a logic error, basically, or something like that, right? And the issue with that is that seems retarded, because now it's like, okay, so now people are being genocided, like the entire galaxy is being culled because of a whoopsie poopsie. I mean,
Of a stupid AI experiment.
it's like a simple thing. Like the AI comes to conclusion: human will evolve, make AI get hurt. How to help human?
Well, life will.
Kill human.
To be fair, Gibbs, that looking at how our current LLMs are,
It's actually surprisingly
it's
spot
actually
on.
very realistic. Actually,
Yes, considering how LLMs have impacted our society, both positively and negatively, because I will point out that while there is a lot of negative PR that LLMs suffer from now, which they are doing bad stuff too, and there is some very questionable ethics about exploiting
Data
people's
collection.
bodies and stuff like that I saw happening with Indian now.
Oh god.
Yeah, they're
I
doing
try not to
some
think about that.
really bad ethical stuff. I don't really want to pull it up, but they're taking pictures of real people and then running them through the language learning model to sexualize them. And then this opens up the ethical question: is that okay? Can I take a picture of somebody and do something with that picture sexually? And that's like, in my opinion, I find that unethical. Like it's not okay. Because then you open the question like, okay, if you can do that with people and if that's okay, then you open up the question is like, okay, then that means children. So like, I just think it's not all right. I think it's wrong. I think it's a boundary we shouldn't cross. But we've already crossed it, so here we are. So not going to be talking
honestly,
about
not
this
even
as an
talking
issue for
about
later, but still.
that, Gibbs. You
But
can
yeah,
look at
moving on. So back to the subject, because I want to get back to it, right? So back to the rappers, right? The rappers. The rappers, the big problem with them is that no matter how you slice it, they're either to fight the dark void energy plot or they're an error. And you have to ask yourself, which is better? I think the void energy plot is better only if they basically treat it like Eldritch Horror and they just don't really explain it. Because if you don't know how to write it, maybe just keep it a bit vague. It's better that we ask questions in our mind than we find out the resolution is something really cringe and dumb. But you know what I mean?
Yep.
yeah.
From an outsider perspective of the Mass Effect series, yeah, I don't want them to revisit that whole how do you revisit the Reapers again? They need to move on and do something else and get a fresh start. Just move on.
Honestly,
Move on from 3.
Yeah, because the
so
issue is like,
there's this mentality
I know, but we have to go back to his
of
question because we haven't quite fully answered it.
that's what I was
So
getting to.
I know, but like, I haven't finished my part. I know because
You've been waffling the whole time.
I like Mass Effect a lot, so I know a lot about the setting. So the issue is, okay, really quickly, I'm going to just speed up through this. So if you want to write the story and continue it as a sequel, you have to address that 3 happened. And no matter what, because you've made 4 retarded, like vastly different endings, here's the reality. You're going to have to pick the best narrative ending, and it's going to piss people off because it invalidates their endings. But the issue is you made this mess to begin with. That's what happens when you have random choices that have massive consequences at the end of a story. You need to now basically, like, this one was canon and this one wasn't, right? And the reason why this is okay, real quickly, Warcraft 1 did this, Warcraft 2 did this, and Warcraft 3 did this, and that was okay. Actually, Warcraft 3 went away with the binary option, actually, if I remember right. Yeah, no, because it just, they did the narrative progression of a human campaign, undead campaign, orc campaign, night elf campaign, or something like that, right? So it went from faction by faction by faction by faction, and in a linear line of progression, which is much better. But if you're going to have binary, like choose orcs or alliance, then you're going to have to choose one being canon and just roll with it. There, done. All right, move on. Go ahead, Trumpus, your turn.
So basically, what I want to say, and this seems to be a trap all IPs seem to be falling into, where like we have to continue, we have to progress, go forward with the story. You really don't. Mass Effect's a large, well, it's a galaxy. There's all kinds of side stories you can explore and even build in on the Mass Effect setting.
Yeah, that could
That
actually
could be
take place
happening
during Mass
during
Effect
the,
1, 2, and 3.
or as you said, you could do the when humanity was first discovered by the other
The Council.
the council. Like, there's all kinds of other stories you can do. You don't have to progress forward. There's a lot to explore in the universe that doesn't involve barreling ahead with the poor
Yeah,
decisions made from the previous
there's
games.
so much you could do. You could just do a story that's not even where you play as the humans, where you go back in time and you actually get to play as a Solarian during the Rachni Wars, and you get to see the Solarians coming to the solution of uplifting their race, the questions and morals and ethics of doing that, and then realizing that uplifting their race was a mistake because they're too warmongering and they can't contain them. And so it's like, there's so much of the world to explore, the universe to explore. You can explore the human conflicts with a colony against the Batarian frontier, right? You could explore, N7 operatives, if you want to just stick to humanity, right? There's so much in a galaxy, right? But they treat the galaxy like it's a single planet. And that's the issue. It all revolves around Shepard. It all revolves around the Normandy. And while they are the linchpin of like the story and the conflict against the Reapers, there are a lot of other conflicts that are ongoing in the galaxy that could be explored. Omega 7, they could explore Omega just like with that's where the criminal chick is and stuff like that. The criminal underground elements that could explore the red tape between the various races. Hell, they could explore alien specters as well, or explore the problems with specters again in a different way from a perspective of a character that isn't one. There's so much to do with the setting that it really is something that I think Trump is absolutely right. They could expand and explore a lot. But I think the issue is they're very tied to the just like Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda was the same problem. It was Mass Effect written by Mass Effect fans, if I remember right. And that's why it was like, here we have the Normandy, and we have the totally not Spectres, which are explorers now, or whatever. And it's like, okay, like it's just the same thing though. Like we're not seeing a different side of a setting, right? Like Warhammer 40K, right? Great example. Has RTSs like Dawn of War that explore being a commander and like having armies. And then they have like shooters like Bolt Gun, where you get to play as a little soldier and shoot stuff, right? Or a space marine. It's exploring different perspectives of that setting. And it's not following the same formula. Mass Effect is sort of just stuck in being one thing. And I think that's the issue. Any other thoughts?
No, I think we're mostly on the same page. One thing I would stress to not revisit is the whole AI plot. I would rather they not revisit that again.
Mostly because, I mean, I don't think they
mishandled
should.
it.
Because, like, the issue with the synths being a thing is that there's two parts that actually address this, right? There's the Quarian storyline / Geth storyline, which is centered around that conflict. And then there's the Reaper thing. If they're going to do any more synth plots, it's going to have to be around like a rogue AI from an installation or something, or like more like episodic, smaller, like side quest stuff. It shouldn't be the primary threat, though. They really have to move away from that being the main story piece going forward.
Yeah, because if you look at the endings of 3, they're all really bad, if you ask me, from when I looked up videos of them, because...
The only ending that's a happy ending, quote unquote, is the Synergy one. It's where man and machine merge to become a new age.
And I don't like that.
It's a bit silly, because synergy is something that would happen regardless naturally, because that's what would happen anyways. If we're going on that context of like, automation, augmentation and stuff like that, or like cybernetics, because naturally that would be the next step anyways. But Mass Effect is very committed to the idea of Mass Effect 3's plot of synthetics will be made, they will rebel, and they will kill their users, and then they will somehow destroy themselves or something. I don't even know. I can't remember. But like it's like a cycle of violence. Organics make synthetics. Synthetics rebel, and it leads to a cycle of violence or some shit. I can't remember. And it's like it's trying to break the cycle, but like it's retarded because the whole concept of this cycle is whenever you introduce the cycle mentality is that we're gonna break the cycle. How are we gonna break the cycle? Okay, we're gonna do something dumb. And it's like okay, like great example of this would be the plot line for Battlestar Galactica with the Cylons and humans. Same kind of plot as Mass Effect. If you didn't watch the TV show, I'll just abridge it for you. The idea is mankind makes machine. Machine gets smart. Machine rebels against man. Machine also becomes tyrant against machine, which is weird. And but don't worry about it. That's the TV show plot. And machine and man and are actually not so different and are actually the same and are actually fighting each other. Reach resolution. Machine and man realize that they can work together. Machine and man work together. Then man settles on Earth. Then man decides on Earth to not build cities but become tribal and reset themselves to break the quote-unquote cycle, but in effect losing all knowledge of all the things they had learned from, in essence recreating the cycle, which is just the most nonsensical writing thing. It's just bad writers. You're trying to have some sort of weird message because you're letting your emotions tell the story, and this happens to writers when they're like, oh, like war bad. It's like, oh, yep, war bad. I mean, like people dying, yeah, that's no brainer. That bad. Like, but war also necessary. That's what people don't want to talk about. War is necessary. It's horrible, but it's necessary. It has to happen sometimes. Throughout history, it has to happen because people don't reach an accord. Because two great powers will not coexist. So one must bonk the other one until the other one's gone. Rome and Carthage. Carthage lost. They got bonked, they gone. Then Rome. Rome basically paves the way for how world's going to be now. Then Rome gets bonked. Then society settled on top of Rome. Then they're like, Rome was kind of cool. We adopt Rome idea. And then that's literally modern history in a nutshell. Abridged yet again. Abridged yet again.
Maybe give war a chance as well. And then Zara says war was okay. 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Not amazing, but I enjoyed my time.
I don't know. Hearing Zara rant about the striker, I don't think he enjoyed his time.
Yeah, I don't think you did. At least hearing your Afghan experiences, especially when you talk about the striker. I don't think you enjoyed your time at all. If you did, you wouldn't be such a whiny baby about getting into one of those strikers.
Maybe he's a masochist.
Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah, maybe he likes the pain.
Maybe he protests too much, methinks.
Commodore, if you ever win an art piece for commission, you need to have it be of you in a striker frowning.
Chat, we need to fund this now.
You in a striker frowning. Sad. It's like, I don't want to be here.
I nominate Bino to draw it even.
Unfortunately, I was air cav in Afghanistan. That's okay. That's what you get for being a little fish. That's what you get.
Falls out of the thing. Bounces.
Bounces.
Conference says War was 8, 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Ooh, ratings are going up. We're trending upwards. We're on our way to mostly positive. Very good. Soon, if
It's
we're
okay.
lucky, we can get
We'll
to very
do what
positive.
all of the major media outlets do. We'll gather all your ratings, chat, and then we'll throw out the ones that are problematic.
Problematic.
We want. That's called statistics, chat. You ignore the data that goes against what you want.
It says right here that consuming uranium actually removes cancer by
Did you know it
killing
has a
you.
sweet taste?
Tasty. Like candy. Like sweet taste probably because your blood or whatever is rupturing your tongue or something. I don't know.
Just like we know what plutonium tastes like.
Some fucker actually ate that. Why would they do that?
Moogie says, I'm at war right now, 5 out of 10. See, even right now, it's still average.
It's average. It's not really falling to, like, it's kind of in the mixed region, but it's not.
Also, I'm sorry,
fall to
Moogie, we're
mostly
looking for
negative.
review scores that aren't currently in the process. We want people looking back, so we have to throw yours out.
Makes your teeth white, too.
Nice.
Very clean. Now, let's see. We've answered the Mass Effect question, I think as well as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Basically,
on to game.
just write different stories. Maybe just let Shepard's story end. But they won't, because people want more Shepard.
You have to be Shepard. We cloned him again.
I think it's just time to let a character story end. Every character story should come to an end at some point.
Welcome back, Shepard. He, she.
Oh
No, Emperor
no!
Palpatine must be revived a billionth time.
Cancer.
We've removed your choice of which Shepard you're playing as. You are now both at once.
That's kind of terrible. It's kind of
Shepard, the
Oh,
hermaphrodite.
I don't like this timeline. I don't like the...
It's coming, Kibbs, and you know it.
Now, World of Warcraft will introduce official Pride events, according to Data Miner. This is something that was actually posted on not just here, but actually on an official place as well.
Yeah, we saw this before.
Yeah,
But
and
this is just confirming it more.
the reason why I'm mentioning it is more or less due to the fact that, this just, how do I put this? It's not surprising. In fact, I'm actually surprised they didn't do it already, all things considered. Not that that's any sort of justification for doing this, but it shows how out of touch video games have kind of become. Now, World of Warcraft's one of those series that was one of those very big pioneers, right? It paved the way. Blizzard Entertainment made a lot of fan-fucking-tastic games. They really did. But I got to remind everybody here that Blizzard Entertainment is the name of a corporation, right? It's not actually people. It was once comprised of people that actually genuinely cared. There still are people that probably work at Blizzard that care, but the reality is that the people in charge is going to be Microsoft executives. And Microsoft executives have a tendency, just like the Activision executives, to literally just make everything worse because they don't care about placating the people that actually play the game. They care about expanding the market and getting more people to buy the thing, right? And they're not interested in preserving a legacy. They're not interested in honoring a legacy. They are just polluting it. I love World of Warcraft, and I love Warcraft a lot. And it really makes me sad to see this. Mostly due to the fact that it just shows how far it's sort of degenerated. But at the same time, I'm not too, sad about it, because at the end of the day, World of Warcraft, to me, sort of, more or less peaked around Wrath, and I enjoyed all the way to Mists of Pandaria, but, honestly, Warlords of Draenor is where I got tapped out. And so for me, it's I got what I wanted out of World of Warcraft. I got what I wanted out of Warcraft. I can still go play Warcraft 1. I can still go play Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3. I can go, find ways to play World of Warcraft with, certain servers that look like, turtles that might work better. And I won't have to deal with shit like this. But Blizzard Entertainment has taken what I really loved and made it not for me anymore. And while it makes me kind of sad and a little angry that they did that, I just don't care. I'm not going to go back to trying it. Well, how to put it? I'll try it on occasion if I'm curious, but I'm not going to really ever go back into it, right? We tried Retail WoW, what was it, a month ago? And mechanically it was kind of fun. There was a lot of nice mechanics, but it kind of just was missing stuff. It was missing what made Warcraft special. It was kind of gone. And it was kind of good to try it again, to remind myself what I missed about Warcraft. Just like when we did Classic, and we played Classic, Hardcore, and then we played Retail a little. And it was yeah. There were things about Classic I liked, but there's also things about Retail I liked. But at the same time, it's also one of the things I shelved, and I think I'm happy. I'm happy with those memories I have of the game. And if I ever want another experience, I know that there are private servers that will facilitate the experience I'm looking for. But I do not believe that Blizzard can actually facilitate what I wish to have anymore. And because I don't think they're capable of delivering that, I'll go to somebody who will make something I want. Jesus Christ. Gina Pormore, make sure you put some away for yourself, dude. Jesus. Thank you for the generous donation. But yes, and if you're intoxicated, please don't donate. I'm only saying that because I get worried about that more. But yeah, very generous. Very much appreciated. He donated $300, going to hold the top spot, lads. Well, it does look like you are definitely very much helping us out massively. I
You're gonna
will.
need to contact Jake.
Yes, I will. That reaches the stretch goal. That is the final stretch goal, chat. You've done it. Congrats. There's no stretch goals left. You did it. You did everything. Good job. Now you're
Should we
good.
turn off fire warrior tracking?
You can leave it up if chat just wants to see for shits and giggles, I guess. To
Keep it
marvel
double?
at what they did. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if they want. Not that it matters, but yeah, I guess
All right.
if they want to see how high they can get it, but like it's already ridiculous. It's fine, chat. You did it. Good job. Good job, and thank you very much. All stretch goals were reached. You have everything. I have literally nothing else to give you. You have nothing. Any extra
Wait,
you
so
give
there's
is
another
just going to
stretch
go
goal.
towards the studio at this point.
What if the animation video is gonna do we inverted a bit? It's not so much Aerith being plowed by a Tau, it's Aerith plowing a Tau.
How about I just don't think about it? How about we just we don't talk about it. After
sounds
last
very
night,
excited
I
about
don't
this
want to
idea.
talk about that again.
It's better than his original idea.
His original idea hurt me on such a spiritual level that
But
I
we go
just
with my idea, we could bring back part of his original
like
idea.
I
chat.
feel bad, all right? Because Bino is a great guy. He's actually genuinely a super kind-hearted guy, but he draws lewd stuff, right?
He's too desensitized.
He's too desensitized, and so what he finds funny, I look at and I find revolting. I'm like, I don't even think it's funny. I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to see it. And
Do you wanna
maybe it's
tell him what he
because
wanted to do?
maybe it's because I'm just boring or something. But like, I don't know. Like, oh my god. At first, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe I'm a spicy guy. Then I saw Bino's drawings and I realized that I know nothing about this. I am
The worst part
genuinely
is what Bino does is tame compared to some of the shit I've seen.
I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Chat doesn't want to know. And I'm telling you that
I
we
don't
don't
wanna
want to know. That we don't want to know.
And I'm glad I don't know.
We're good. We're good. We don't need to know. Like we
Mm.
can stop at that.
Does chat deserve to know what Bino wanted to draw?
No, they do not. They do not need to hear that. And I think it's best we move on. It was too cursed even for
Yeah.
me.
Why have we strayed from biddies to Pickle Rick?
That explains why
Is
they
it
came
though?
back to VC so fast. Yeah, basically Bino asked me about something and I basically came up to the line and was like, dude, like I don't know what you were expecting me to say. But I think from my perspective, and this is I give my honest opinion, and I care about Bino. Bino's a good dude. Best dude ever. But at the same time, I told him my honest opinion. I said if you draw that,
Oh.
I think most people will want to throw up and they won't even find it funny. And that's my opinion. And that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I did it to protect you, chat.
Chat
I
wants to
did it
know.
to protect you,
Kibbs.
chat. They don't get to. They don't get to. There's no price. We're not going to talk about that on stream. We're just not.
Okay.
We're just
Well,
not.
there you go. It's not allowed.
We're probably gonna get striked if we talk about it.
I'll
We're
tell you
probably
later,
gonna
chat.
get.
In the VC after stream.
Yeah, you can tell them if they want. If people want, DM Chumpus, ask Chumpa, but don't
No, just
ask
DM
me.
Albine.
God help.
Go
me.
directly to the source.
You can ask him.
Oh,
I'm not gonna say you can't. You are adults. You're allowed to do what you want. Just don't talk to me about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about
Emphasis
it.
on the word stretch, Gregor.
And when Bino draws it, if he does, I don't want to see it. I don't even want to know it was made. All right, I don't even want to know. Just no. Just
How
don't
much
tell.
does Gino?
There is no price. You've already donated like
By the
$500.
way,
That was very
Gino,
generous.
you have a chatfish. I need to know which artist you'd like for it. I'll even allow Indio, even though because how much you just donated. Like, yeah, we can pre-order it for Indio for you, if you want.
Yeah, because India's only doubled. I very much like the new model.
but he
It
paid-
suits
he
your
just paid
channel better
$500.
as it is. I've heard that. I've also heard chatfish who have other opinions, and I think all chatfish opinions are valid because they're fishes. But I understand. The best thing I hear people say about this one is that it encapsulates who I am better, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean, if that's an insult or not. But
It is.
probably. But the other thing I've heard is that people miss Booba, and I also
That's why.
understand and respect
Double D
Booba.
Gremlin.
I don't know if that's gonna emit the same vibe. I imagine that's more like South Park with that one episode where I am the dog, the big bad dog, and then there's a big breasted chick and she can't see forward because her boobs are so big. Anybody remember that episode? I do.
I never really watched much South Park.
I had a dream about South
Vaguely.
Park's ratings, and that was my dream last night. About how South Park fell off. And that was like a topic. And now I'm making
I
a
had a
topic today.
cousin
We're literally
Japan
living it
getting
out like
shot at with
prophecy.
arrows.
Yeah.
It was a fun
God.
show. It was South Park, like all comedy shows, starts pretty good. Well, depending on what it is. Family Guy is not so much in my opinion. But South Park was pretty good. But it was one of those
American
shows
Dad
that
was the best.
kind of needed to end. No, it's the Cleveland show, actually. My name is Cleveland Brown, and I am...
The only thing to like from that is the intro.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Because the rest of the show is very mid.
It's very mid, but Cleveland Brown's intro and his song is retardedly good. It's the only thing good about that show. It's mostly just the voice actor's dumb voice that really carries it.
Look,
Either way.
as a massive gooner, I get it, but I always felt like it was meh and took away from the experience, says Holzenator.
That's fair. I respect all Chatfish opinions. I refuse to take sides in the Chatfish war. Now go ahead and fight for my amusement. Like, what? And as I start poking each other with sticks.
Those fields of fire, those gasoline, those a match.
Also, shouldn't Green Branches both of his be on? His Chatfish?
Probably. Does he have two?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That spells Green Branch for you and me. Oh, there's another Grumpy Rat one. I should probably turn that one on. I didn't even see that
Hippo,
one.
just go ahead and DM Alpine.
That Grumpy Rat one's on the bottom right. Wow, I haven't seen that. I don't think ever since we got it like first activated. There it is in the bottom right. See, it's like a little one that spins red.
Yeah. That was a Grumpy Rat?
Yeah, I just
Huh.
found it. I have to re-alphabetize these because the new ones are kind of like making it
You're
cluttered.
gonna save yourself a lot of trouble if you just
I know.
download the
I'm
folder.
going to do that. It's on my to-do list.
It's always on his to-do list, chat.
My to-do list is huge.
It's always pushed to the bottom, chat.
No, it's not. It's just I forget what I'm doing because I have ADHD.
Oh, yeah, it was a Grumpy Rat one.
Yeah, but just looking at this cursed WoW thing. God, just
Yeah, I just don't.
I mean,
I just
Blizzard's
don't.
fallen.
I just don't. Well, I mean, Blizzard is spawned. Like Blizzard stopped being Blizzard like decades and decades ago, pretty much.
Why don't we go to the
Decades.
next Blizzard news, Kibbs?
Before we do,
Yeah, that might.
what Fuzzy raises is a good point. But the thing is with Blizzard Entertainment like stopped producing good stuff around Diablo. Like honestly, Diablo 3 was kind of like mid, and like StarCraft 2, while it was fun mechanically, felt like it was missing its artistic soul. But it's not a bad game.
Basically in a story.
The game is really good, and there are parts of the story I really like. But I think StarCraft 2 kind of
Wings of Liberty
missed.
had some good parts.
They all do.
Wings of Liberty was good. The
Wings
Nova,
of Liberty,
the Nova campaign was
except
good.
the end part was good.
Legacy of the Void was solid,
Legacy of the Void,
except for the ending. Except for the
yeah, the ending. Heart of the Swarm was just kind of.
Heart of the
I-
Swarm is the weakest one. All the other Zerg characters are really fun, but Kerrigan is like the worst character because she's
It's because she's a Mary
bipolar.
Sue. She's
Well,
just a Mary Sue.
so
pretty
she
much.
needs to be a monster, but she also has to be likable. So she has to kill like only a certain number of people, but not seem like she's being genocidal because they're trying to make her into a redeemable protagonist, and it just doesn't work. It just
'Cause she's
doesn't.
not.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. But it's like I'm not surprised by this one bit. It's Microsoft. Their leadership is so incompetent.
Microsoft.
No, yeah, because
Microsoft owns
forcing
it
a lot
now.
of this on Blizzard. Yeah,
But Activision.
Oh, that's right. They did buy Activision.
But
yeah.
Activision did most of the damage. Like Blizzard was dead before Activision was acquired by Microsoft. Like in terms of producing good stuff. People say like World of Warcraft Legion was good, but like maybe it was, but like I'll be real, like World of Warcraft kind of was already going down the drain before then. But either way,
and if we need,
I think we've kind of we've kind of
yeah,
kicked
to the next
Blizzard
article
horse.
because
Blizzard did.
it fits into the. Well, if you want to know more of a decline in Blizzard,
So it's not necessarily.
just look at
This
this.
isn't necessarily decline yet. I mean, it has to. Oh, that is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Because what's one thing Blizzard was known for? Developing their own in-house tech. They were
Proprietary
really
tech,
good at it
yes.
for the longest 10. And what has happened ever since Microsoft? And full disclaimer, usually Microsoft always has some kind of, as far as I know, some kind of business deal with Epic, where they always tend to use their tech and have institutional knowledge of that. Be that as it may, Blizzard has historically speaking, has no reason to use anybody else's third-party tech. The fact that for their new open world game, which we know from, which is a job description, and they're going to be using Unreal Engine, that's a bad sign.
Yeah. Yeah, this is bad. So, real quickly, for those who might not understand why this is a bad sign. So, for example, a double A or an indie company doesn't have a lot of resources, right? Now, for example, I'm going to use our studio as an example because I've learned a lot from running my studio, and I've also learned a lot of mistakes, right? One thing I've learned is that our studio is using Unity as like a framework to get started, but we are actually building our own proprietary engine from that framework, and so we're eventually going to have our own separate engine, right? Which then we can license. It's not the like most financially like cheap thing to do, as it's cost a lot of money. But the benefits of having your own proprietary engine are that it can do whatever you need it to because it was handcrafted to do the game you're making, right? And because it's your own tech, you can actually build on top of that foundation because you know, right? For example, Robin is the engineer who basically put that thing together for us. And because Robin worked with it, he's very good. An example of what would be bad. Let's say Robin, retired, right? If he retired from our project, that would be critical because Robin had all the information on how that engine worked. He is essential, right? If Robin were to quit, that would mean that that engine that we have, which doesn't even have a name, I don't even know what Robin's called it yet, but basically, it means that like
The mixer's engine.
it'd be like grabbing a new person programmer and being like, figure this out. And they're like, what? I don't know. It's like, you got to decipher it because it's different. It may be based in C#, but like it's all the other components. It's not easy to figure out, right? It takes time. That's one of the things, right? And so Blizzard would have their own engines. So they had their own programmers work on it too, to produce their own engines and tech for their stuff, their own editors and stuff like that. And that was a huge bonus. Like Warcraft 3's editor, StarCraft 2's editor allowed for entire games to be built inside them because they basically made those things to do that. And they weren't relying on Unreal. They weren't relying on, Unity or whatever. They're relying on their own technology and their own resources. Because they don't have the engineers or the programmers to really produce something like this anymore, they're now using Unreal Engine, which now does have abilities to produce open worlds for the new update. But here's the thing, right? You're not using your own tech, which means that you're going to be constrained to Unreal. Unreal adds more bureaucracy. So let's say, oh, Robin, I want to add stairs that are destructible and can break. And people might be like, why do you bring up stairs? Stairs are one of those things in games that are actually kind of weird how they work programmatically in certain games because they're kind of special. So it's like, okay, we're going to add stairs that are like work this way and they can break and they do this thing, right? Mechanically. We can do that in our engine. Now let's say we're working in Unreal. Robin, I want to add destructible staircases and stuff like that. Now, this particular case, this might actually have like a module or a thing in Unreal already, but let's say Unreal doesn't have anything for that. Okay, well, we can kind of jury rig something up together, or we can like reach out for Unreal and like, hey, can you guys add like put on this on the list of things or like this to do? Or more realistically, let's say there is a staircase thing, but it doesn't work for how we need it to, and because of something related to Unreal's code or engine, right? Hey, there's some problem with your engine. You need to fix it. All right, now we gotta radio that in. It's gonna sit there on a fucking sheet waiting to be fixed if it's gonna be fixed, because there are big companies that they don't do. Another example of this would be a game called Path of Exile. You guys might be familiar with this. It's a action RPG, right? Path of Exile has a bug in its game because of how it was made that is not necessarily the developer's fault. Because of how they use a certain NVIDIA driver, for example, what happens is that an NVIDIA driver will occasionally fail. What happens when it fails? The game crashes. So, what do Path of Exile devs do? They reach out to NVIDIA. They report the bug. NVIDIA says, we're not going to fix that. What does Path of Exile devs do next? Fuck is what they do. They're probably just going like, oh, fuck. What do we do? This is critical. Game crashes are horrific. Having a game crash is one of the worst things that you can do because player fall off and fatigue is going to skyrocket. That is critical. How do we address this? Well, Path of Exile's team, they addressed it by doing this. Basically, this is from my knowledge of how I was told about how they did this, right? Because I don't actually know. But the thing is what they basically do is the game, when the NVIDIA driver fails, it shuts down the game's renderer and shader. When that shader and renderer shut down, they then reboot when the NVIDIA driver reboots. And once they reboot, then the game begins to run again. What the game is programmed to do is it's programmed not to crash, but to pause. So it feels like it has a long pause period. Well, that pause period is because it's rebooting the renderer and the graphics, like all the graphic stuff, to get it running again. Flipping it on or off and then back on once the driver's running so it can function. That's a massive issue still, because that's still going to affect players, because there's going to be these weird spikes of, I'm going to say revive bits while the drivers reboot. It's better than the alternative, right? Another example would be Morrowind. Morrowind had so many memory leaks for Xbox Original that the developers did not have time to fix it. So how did they fix it? Well, similar approach. The OG Xbox shuts down and reboots the game and the hardware while you're playing, while you load. That's why Morrowind on the original Xbox has massive load times, because
But
there
only
was a memory
sometimes.
leak. Yep. Because there's a memory leak that the game, the programmers couldn't figure out how to get it, and they're running out of time. So the last ditch effort was to have the Xbox restart while you played occasionally to kill, or not necessarily kill, but reset that memory leak so that the performance doesn't tank. It's
I
not
can
the
also
best
confirm.
solution, but it's all they had.
I can confirm it did that because I've played extensively Morrowind on the original Xbox, and they would just randomly have a loading screen that would take like 10 minutes, and it wasn't inconsistent loading. It would just, after some time, massive loading screen.
Yeah. Isn't it nuts? Isn't it actually insane? Lies. Morrowind was perfect. Well, I mean, it might have been on the PC. I don't know. But, like, the issue is that
It was a beautiful mess on console.
the OG Xbox port had a lot of problems. And you'll find that a lot of ports have different issues, right? There's also technical and engineering marvels. Like, one marvel I own that I bought because I had to was the marvel that is Resident Evil 2 on the N64. It's because they managed to compress the FMVs of the videos and get all, like, the stuff into the game, even though they had limited data storage. And engineers found, ways to work around that, programmers who were like, how do we make this work? Because they had to work within the confines and the limitations of the resources they had. Same goes for music design. Why do you think we have a lot of chiptune now, or like certain musics that are very melody based from older video games? Well, they have a limited amount of sound that the sound card can run, right? So they need to get creative with the sounds they can run, because it can only handle so many things going on at the same time, sound effects and music. And so with that limited amount of data, they've got to make the music work. They got to make it carry the mood, they got to make it good, and they only can have so much music in the game to begin with. And so they got to figure out how to cram that all in there. And it's really interesting, like, in terms of how it works. But yeah. So that's an example of, like, developers going above and beyond to figure out how to make things work. The issue with a company such as Blizzard doing this and using Unreal Engine is that, well, I personally dislike the Unreal Engine. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'll be honest. I don't like it. I just don't like how the modern Unreal Engine works. It just has so many problems now because they've tied so many optional things. And developers, which I found out through Robin, because he's a programmer, basically told me that a lot of these developers don't turn off those things. Like, they don't have to have ray tracing on. They don't have to have all these things on, these bells and whistles that Unreal forces on, right? You can actually turn them off. It's just developers never do. And that's why their games run like ass, because they don't fucking optimize their shit. Ugh. And so the issue with Blizzard using Unreal Engine is that they shouldn't be. They should be making their own proprietary engine to make their own custom game. They shouldn't be relying on an engine like Unreal, and it shows that they don't have the institutional knowledge on the team to do that. They don't have the ability to produce a game they believe in. Remember, I want to remind you, Blizzard Entertainment was making a Warcraft point-and-click game, as well as a StarCraft game called StarCraft Ghost, which was a third-person StarCraft shooter with, like, stealth options and stuff like that, and PvP. And there was a lot of stuff they were going to do with that. And there's the Warcraft point and click. Both games were canceled. Why did they cancel these games? They still would sell. In today's market, they would never have canceled them. Why? Because Blizzard had standards. Blizzard did not think these games were up to par with their other work, and said, no, we're not going to make these because our players deserve better. This isn't good enough for them. They deserve better. And only when we can deliver something that matches what they deserve will we actually produce it. Something we can be proud of. Something we know that they will actually enjoy and like. The issue is that they didn't do that. They don't do that anymore, at least. That age of canceling projects because they don't have faith in them is over. Blizzard will now jury rig whatever fucking crappy shit they got and slap it out now because they're owned by Microsoft. Because it's exactly what Microsoft does. Microsoft sometimes has studios that do good stuff underneath them. I will say there's some studios that do produce decent things. But at the same time, Microsoft doesn't incentivize studios to do that. That's an abnormality. They actually try to push the opposite. You know, just spit out some slop. That'll work. 343 Industries, you know, or whatever they call themselves now, or Halo Industries, or Halo whatever the fuck. Same company. What did they do to address the problems? 343 has got a really bad name. How do we fix it? Should we dismantle the team and build a new one from the ground up and get the old guys back and get the old guard and try to recapture that magic? It's not guaranteed to work, but it's our best shot. No, that's too much work. Fire the ground floor team, keep the leadership, and change the name. But sir, the leadership are the people who made those bad choices, not the ground floor team. In fact, it's thanks to the ground floor team that we have any knowledge on how to use the subspace engine. Nah, we don't care about that. Fire them. And now that's why Halo is going to use not their own proprietary slipspace engine, but they're going to use Unreal Engine. It's because they got rid of the actual guys that know how to actually put this stuff together. They don't care about the little guys that work in the studio, right? They don't care about the programmers, the artists. They're expendable. The executives always get away with it scot-free. The people who get like fucked over when a game comes out and it's shit are the people who didn't make decisions whether or not the game was shit. It's never the captain goes down with the ship in the industry. It's the crew goes down while the captain sails to the next ship to go fucking run that one into the ground too. Go ahead. You're trying to get a word? Chippa?
No, I was just agreeing with you that we went in a deep dive about Microsoft before, but basically, yeah, it's a complete lack of caring or even understanding any of the development process from executives, basically.
Yeah, so they just don't care. They don't put in the
All that
effort.
matters is what the quarterly report looks like.
Yes. And so long as the quarterly report looks good, they're never thinking about long term. Yeah, no, great.
They're not even
great
thinking
point
about the
bringing that up.
next quarterly report. It's literally this one is the only one that matters.
Yep. Because the executives aren't thinking about the future of a company. They're not interested in the future, right? Much like the people who made the World of Warcraft Pride decision aren't interested in the future of World of Warcraft. They don't care. They're just interested in the current quarterly report and what looks good for the investors. And the short-term gains are what they're going to take now and the head paths, and then they're going to jump ship and move on to the next company. They don't care. They're not going to stick
They're
around.
just building themselves a better golden parachute. That's all that matters.
Yep, so they can segue over to the next corporation and do the exact same thing there. They're like little parasites that come in, drain the soul out of a company, cause people to lose their jobs, and then move on to the next company to go do that too. They're
Funnily enough, chat,
rancid.
golden parachute was one of the tax items.
My God. What the fuck? Is that they actually bought
don't
a
remember
golden parachute?
No, when we were doing taxes, Gibbs. Golden parachute was one of the things listed for like if you had a golden parachute set up somewhere.
That's retarded. That's retarded.
So they can tax your golden parachute fund.
Oh yeah, so they when you're segueing over, they can get the money out of it. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
probably get a fortune out of these guys, right? These guys are
Mhm.
fucking playing with millions of dollars
The
like
golden
it's candy.
parachutes are all taxed, so the government incentivizes that.
Yeah, because they know golden parachutes are one of the few reliable ways to get rid of an executive that's going to be stubborn and wanted to keep their job. And the only way to do that is to grease the wheels, just to get him out fast. That was the only way, say, Bobby Kotick was going to get out quickly, was unless you pay him a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Also, Hippo apparently needs your feedback later.
Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. I haven't yet to get back to you. Sorry, it's been a bit busy, but we got through taxes now, so should be a
Yeah,
lot
just shoot him
easier
another
now.
DM, Hippo, and he'll check it after stream.
Remind me after stream, boys. But yeah, because that should only take a few seconds to get back to you. because I've read it. I actually know what it
Or
is.
hey,
I
bro,
just
just
didn't
send me a
type.
DM and I'll remind them after stream.
Yeah. Well, we should remember.
Well, just
Hopefully.
in case. I don't trust Gibbs. He has the
Also,
memory of a chatfish.
Also,
Nah.
because if you scroll down in the article, there was a recent game, recent, it was canceled 2 years ago, that I like to remember during the mass layoffs that were happening over the past few years that Blizzard suffered. I think you can scroll down too far.
Some sort of survival game.
Yeah, remember that survival game? That was canceled 2 years ago. So, don't everybody don't get your hopes up too much, because I don't know. They need to release something in the StarCraft universe, because honestly, for an IP that still has a beloved fan base, to not release something, but at the same time, it's Blizzard.
The last thing they did with the
And they can't-
StarCraft IP, as far as I was, was StarCraft Remaster, and then the little cartoon pack from Cardbot. Wasn't that it?
Yeah, but yes, but in terms of new releases,
Yeah, I know.
not just remasters,
There's
that
no
was
new
11 years
StarCraft
ago
game.
with StarCraft 2. It was StarCraft 2,
Mhm.
and that's been a long time.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems StarCraft 2 suffered from the World of Warcraft syndrome, which essentially is a art style that World of Warcraft has, which was, not so good in my opinion. It's one of those things that World of Warcraft, the old art style, age is all right. Like it's because it's super toonish, but like the biggest problem with World of Warcraft's art style is that it polluted every other game. It polluted Diablo 3. Hell, they even used the boar model from World of Warcraft in Diablo 3 because they didn't make their own boar model. Like they literally recycled assets from the other games. And some people are like, well, why? It's their assets. Well, come on, you're making a new game here and you're using assets from a game from 2004 and a game that's being made in 2010 or whatever, or 11. Like it should deserve a little bit of effort rather than using 2004 assets. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'd be mad about that too, like if imagine if they released Halo 3 and it used the art assets from Halo 1. People be like, well, what the fuck? Why am I paying $60 for this if you're already just using the assets from the previous game? You didn't put in the effort, right? People will be upset. And I think it's a rightful thing to be upset. If a AAA studio is going to charge you premium prices, then you damn well deserve a premium goddamn experience. New art, new visuals, new graphics, new gameplay, new sound, all the bells and whistles. Because they're charging you a lot of money for a game. You deserve, to get actually something new, not a reskin of an old game. Hell, there's been games that have done that in the past, and it gets, not necessarily the best reception when that's done. Not usually a thing people want to do. But yeah. When it comes to the StarCraft Ghost thing, or the upcoming StarCraft game, is really, they should just make StarCraft 3. But this isn't going to be StarCraft 3. It's going to be some sort of shooter, isn't it?
I think it's, at least according to the article, some kind of open world shooter.
Open
Which,
world shooter?
Open world, yeah, if you look at the title.
I don't know about open world. Open world games have a tendency to be very hollow.
Yeah,
Like, I
I know
enjoy
they've been
some
trying to
open world games
experiment with.
from, like, yesteryear, like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or Mercenaries and stuff like that. But, like, an open world game in StarCraft could be interesting if, like, okay, imagine this, Fuzzy. Close your little fuzzy buddy eyes, right? And imagine if you're playing as like a ghost or something, and you've got a Terran base, and then you've got like a Protoss base, and then you're playing as the ghost, and you can actually sabotage the Zerg's base production and stuff like that, and then your guys win. Like that could be kind of cool, but I don't think it's gonna be that. I don't even know if they're actually
No.
gonna use like the mechanics from the RTS and try to like have them be a thing, because it would be cool
Yeah,
to play as a little soldier in an RTS and actually like help. But I don't know if they're doing
yeah,
that.
it's like, are they gonna you play a Marine and you have some fancy tech, or what I think is more, at least this is just my personal theory, what I would do a ghost, and you have to do your psi abilities and stealth and everything, and your sniping,
Yeah,
but
you sneak into the
honest,
barracks and you blow it up, and then they can't make new Marines. And then now it's easier
yeah,
because no more reinforcements can spawn. It's like tying
yeah,
game
because
mechanics to the actual other game.
at least in then, if you're gonna do open world shooter, at least you'll be playing a type of player character that could have that some kind of power fantasy. But if you just do a regular, you're a Marine and you have all this fancy tech, Marines get absolutely
So if
plastered
they're
by a
if they're
lot of
gonna let
other
you be
stuff.
like a Marine, then they would make something like a la Renegade or like Battlefield, right? Where you're
Yeah.
just like playing as little soldiers rather than, and then you can get in the vehicles and be different classes. That's what that
Yeah,
would
maybe a
be if it's like a
co-op shooter,
multiplayer
I would
shooter.
imagine, where you have co-op factions
But
if you're
they
gonna do an
say
open world third person.
open
But this comes off
world.
as single player, which means single player, or at least co-op max.
See, if this was any other era, right? If this was before we live in the era now, I'd actually be really excited for this. And I'm curious to see what it is. I'm not going to immediately dismiss it, but I'm just going to say the modern Blizzard offerings have been very disappointing lately. Like Diablo 4
Yes.
was not very good. Overwatch 2 just got renamed Overwatch 1 to try to fix its reputation, and I don't like that one either.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah, so like Blizzard hasn't put out anything recently. Like the best thing they've done recently was the re-release of Diablo 2 Remaster, where they added a Warlock class. That's the only thing I can think of that Blizzard's done recently that I was like, yeah, that was all right. I tried it. It was fun. But it wasn't like a new game. It was just a different class. It wasn't.
Yeah, and they go from that to now they're no longer developing their own tech. They're using Unreal Engine. It just goes to show that the pessimism on future Blizzard projects just keeps stacking and stacking, and I would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah,
I
the
would
only
want this
things,
game to be good.
the best modern quote unquote games they've released, right? Or things they've released that have done well, in my opinion, is they did the Diablo 2 thing I talked about with the Immortal Edition, adding a Warlock, which was fun. Then they re-released Warcraft 1 and 2, which are ancient games. But they did re-release them in a way that was actually making them much more playable, so that was a good job there, because they actually did something nice for a change. And then StarCraft Remaster. And that's it. But they also have drawbacks. The StarCraft Remaster had its world editor removed. Like, that's really bad. Because when we were trying to play it, we played a level that was really bullshit. We eventually beat it, but like, holy crap, it was bullshit, chat. But oh my god, they have no editor. Like, if you want to edit like levels or make levels, you got to download like a special third-party tool. Blizzard doesn't even support the original editor anymore. I couldn't find it, unless if I'm wrong, chat, go ahead and correct me. But when I looked for it, I couldn't find it anywhere. Because I remember it being in the main menu. It was just an editor button. But it's replaced. You know what replaced it? An advertisement to buy more crap. That's what they added there. And the worst part about that advertisement is I own the cardbot art style thing. And they keep advertising it to me as if I don't own it. Wow, is all I have to say. Wow. Wow. Any game that puts an advertisement thing in their main menu, in my opinion, is kind of scummy. I just don't like it. It just feels tacky. It's like, oh, I bought this game, and now there's a thing in the game's main menu telling me, like, by the way, you could buy a DLC. It's like, okay, you could have just done that in the announcement section, like when I booted the game up with an update. But by the way, there's new content, and that's it. But now there's this ugly fucking promotional panel. It takes up like a quarter of the screen. It's like, by the way, buy the DLC you already own. It's like playing Shogun 2, if you're feeling like retro, and then seeing ads in Shogun 2 about Rome 2. Fucking, it's just so fucking
It's annoying.
It's like, yeah, I know you made Rome 2 and it wasn't very good. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for
Buy
reminding
Rodin
me.
2 again, Kibbs.
$2 says Culling of Arthas is peak storytelling. It is. It's beautiful. All your Arthuses.
All your other Arthuses.
Get out of my sight. The rest of you Arthuses with me.
Oh, that's a perfect idea for the StarCraft shooter. StarCraft Arthas. That's who you're playing.
And I killed Fuzzy, and Fuzzy was dead.
Everyone is just Arthas now.
You own nothing and be happy. No, I will not be happy. But I will also
that's
own
actually
nothing.
wrong. That's actually incorrect on VFD. Being happy isn't part of the equation anymore.
Yeah.
You don't need to be happy to lead a fulfilling life according to the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, happiness is not important. I like how the quality of life is like diminishing, right? And when you have like things like that, like globalist mentality, it's like your quality of life will be worse, and that's good. It's like,
okay though,
what?
because us at the top will be better off.
Yeah, the people who prop it up are going to be living the high life, even higher than they already were. They just want you to suffer. Real curious.
Because that's the only way they can feel anymore, is if others are suffering.
I don't like just being rich. I also want you to be in crippling debt so I feel even better. So I have more power over you. Fucking nuts, man.
Arthas Rainer.
Not
Would that
this.
improve StarCraft 2's story if it was Arthas instead of Rainer? It might.
I mean, Rayner probably would not have done the things that Arthas did because he was a little bit more sympathetic. He was kind of a everyman kind of guy, you know.
Yeah, what if Rainer was just evil, like Arthas?
Rayner was just evil. Then he'd probably bang Kerrigan and just let himself be infested.
That
Instead of
sounds
Kerrigan would
horrific.
have had Rainer. Would have been better, honestly.
That sounds like a fanfic.
That's what the Arthas thing is that Chow was talking about.
That's true. They're both fanfics. Death to Chow Chow. He's like,
Agora says Arthas would kill Kerrigan. Yeah, that's a distinct possibility because
He
Arthas
probably,
would view
yeah.
Kerrigan as a rival. So therefore,
Honestly, if Rainer was more Arthas-like, when Kerrigan basically was like, no, I'm gonna be Zerg, Arthas or Rainer would have just nuked her then.
it's like, hey, honey, I have a present for you. Click.
Yee. Now, moving on. We've talked about Blizz boys enough. I would like Blizzard to produce good games again one day.
It's time to let them die.
It's just posted today.
Also, there was another article that Chatfish posted that I put in the stream room.
Well, we haven't gotten through these ones, so that one's going to have to wait
I'm
a
just
minute.
letting you know it's there.
Brian Raffle, co-founder of Call of Duty developer Raven Software, retires after 36 years at the studio. Raven Software produced some of the most faithful and amazing shooters of all time, by the way. Their older games are amazing, like Star Trek Elite Force. I believe they also did Blood, right? Was that Raven? I can't remember. Don't remember. But
They've been
Raven
around for
shooters
so
are
long.
really good. They make a lot of great games, a lot of great shooters, a lot of really good ones too. Either way, Brian Raffle, who co-founded developer Raven Software in 1990 with his brother Steve, and has been its co-studio head ever since. Ever since is retiring from the studio after 36 years, during which he worked on major pop culture franchises from Star Wars. Yep, because Raven Software also produces Jedi Academy games and Star Wars video games. They also did Star Trek Elite Force, which was also good. Star Wars, Star Trek, to Marvel, and most recently Call of Duty. Steve retired in 2017. In 1990, inspired by a shared love of storytelling, Brian and his brother Steve set out to build something of their own. Raven said in a statement announcing Brian Raffle's retirement, which began as a small creative pursuit known as Black Crypt, grew into something far, far greater over the years. His leadership guided our studio through a wild and shifting industry, shaping it into what it is today. And then, so it's so sad because they're just in the Call of Duty mines. But I don't think Raven Software has made anything good in like a billion years.
Yeah,
They-
Call of
No,
Duty's
they've been
been kind of dog shit for a long time.
They just forced them to produce Call of Duty crap. It's sort of like Massive Entertainment, which made RTSs getting stuffed into the Ubisoft mines to make fucking open world slop.
Avatar.
Yeah, no. Star Wars Outlaws is what they were known for recently. From dark otherworldly
Division.
realms to place that reached far across galaxies, Brian has crafted stories. Okay, so yeah, basically he's gone. But honestly, like, regardless of that fact, right, the Raven Software of this era, and this is definitely like 90s, has been dead for an eon and a half. They just don't make anything.
Yeah, it is
Makes me
like
sad.
many things that we keep reiterating this point. The passing of the torch is happening, and we're in an era of change in the games industry. A lot of the people that built all of the good games in the 90s and early 2000s, well, times have changed. It's been a long time.
Yep. Even reviewing this, like, it's kind of irrelevant in this sense because Raven Software died in the Call of Duty mines many years ago. The fact that Brian Raffle finally decided to leave is, probably him just tired of looking at, this fucking thing that's just an amalgamation of crap. But honestly, I don't know him. I have no idea. All I know is Raven Software hasn't produced anything of note or value in ages in terms of artistic value. Like, the Call of Duty games have just kind of sadly become literally just dribble. And what I mean by dribble is that they're just regurgitation of modern trends. Like, they're just following the same beat and without very little implementation of innovation. on top of a formula. They've kind of just been that way. Last time they tried to innovate with Call of Duty was like Black Ops, when they started introducing like different storylines where you could have like branching paths in the campaign, which was, I think, a very good change. But all things considered, I think Call of Duty's kind of just degenerated. It's not really the series it was. It wasn't the great, shooter that arrived on the scene that basically dethroned EA's Medal of Honor, which was getting a little sterile at that point, you know? Because Medal of Honor was
Yeah,
cool when
now
it came out with Steven Spielberg, because Spielberg did a fantastic job with the original Medal of Honor. Like, it genuine, the music is beautiful. But EA got lazy, and Medal of Honor became very regurgitated, and then Call of Duty showed up and actually did something new and fresh, and then Call of Duty just
Call of Duty lived
fell
long
off.
enough to become the villain.
Yes, it basically helped inspire a new age of like progress and shooters and push things forward, but it inadvertently created a popular trend, which it's not. I'm not going to blame Call of Duty for the fact that a lot of other shooters sort of died out. I'm going to blame the fact that a trendsetter is not the thing that should usually be blamed. It should be the people who follow said trend and betray their
Yeah.
values. They're the people that are at fault. Call of Duty's
People that
success
try
is
to
not a bad thing.
we're the blank killer. It's like, yes, congrats. You're just trying to be that thing again, but you're worse.
Yep. And so that's one of the things. Because Call of Duty definitely, like, I remember Black Ops 2 still being fun. But I felt like after that, it felt like nobody talked about Call of Duty the way they did anymore. And sort of like as a game, just stopped being what it was, what made it special. Just sort of fell off and disappeared into obscurity, becoming irrelevant as time went on. But yeah, that is unfortunately the fate of Call of Duty. Either way. And
this is just a reminiscing one of the old guards passing.
GTA 6
Now this
sleuths
one,
deduce that Rockstar North's likely to spend over $2 billion making the long-awaited game after snooping through its financial documents. If they're right, it's probably the most expensive entertainment product ever made. Well, that's going to set new records, I guess, so that's always interesting. It'll be the newest expensive game. I remember when Star Wars The Old Republic was actually the most expensive game ever made. Star Wars The Old Republic Online was huge. It costed more than any game ever in history. Then it was passed by somebody, I can't remember who, and it looks like that record's going to be broken again by the new Grand Theft Auto game. But I think one of the issues here is that, is it even possible for them to make $2 billion back? Like, I have no doubt that Call of Duty will sell millions of copies. Easily. It'll easily push millions. It
hundreds
should.
of millions. But it usually takes time to get into the billions mark, even factoring microtransactions in this latest Call of Duty release. It's not silly. The fact that Battlefield 6 outsold it easily. And we all know Battlefield 6 is long tail is pretty much dead at the moment, and Call of Duty's there is no long tail. Now, as to how they got to that 2 billion mark, they've been looking through the public documents, mostly through the UK, and that's how they were able to estimate wages spent by Rockstar on GTA, and they've been going, when you factor in all the years of delays and everything, that's a lot of zeros. A lot of zeros. How are you? And if you look at every time they delay it, the stock price of Rockstar takes a tank, of which, if you look at the long run, yeah, they're doing fine, but that's only under the assumption that this game will sell like hotcakes. And it's starting to get real sketchy.
It's one of those games that I think GTA 6 is in some form of development hell. Something bad has happened behind the scenes, and I genuinely hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. Is it 6, right? Yeah. I hope it's a good
6.
game. I hope people get what they're asking for. I'd like it to be good. I hope they actually make it more like an immersive game where there's like more stuff to it. I mean, surely this game must have a lot more mechanics than previous Grand Theft Autos, right? Maybe it's more like San Andreas where you can actually like become fat or get like strong and like actually have RPG stuff. Because that was really cool. I'd love to see that stuff return. But at the same time, I'm not going to jump on this game like immediately. I think this is one I'm going to be cautious on because, like, I don't know. Even as a streamer, I don't know. It gives me a weird vibe, doesn't it? It reminds me of when we talked about CD Projekt Cyberpunk, And I remember being dogpiled for being like, I don't think we should be super excited for this. I have concerns. And I was like surprised when people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you say that. They're the Witcher 3 devs, you fucking dummy." And it's like, okay. No, okay.
And what happened? We saw that, if anybody that remembers Cough Cough Aliens Colonial Marines saw the exact same pattern in Cyberpunk, and lo and behold, we were right. Now,
Yeah,
to
I mean,
this game,
wouldn't
and
want to
if
be. I wish Cyberpunk was good. Because Cyberpunk is a
yeah,
cool concept as a game. Go ahead.
as to GTA 6, yeah, I cannot deny I'm getting a lot of those same vibes with the marketing, the fact that we still, even with factoring all the delays, we still haven't seen much raw gameplay. We've only seen these trailers that are almost always made on high-end workstations and are not the player. I'm not even going to say optimized. And are not player builds. Which the fact that even looking through investor reports, there's still a lot of questions and not a lot of answers, and the marketing machine is been really sketchy around this. And 2 billion now? It just makes me cast doubts upon doubts on a series of which I did not think would suffer these kind of troubles yet. Something's going on with Rockstar, that's for sure. Whenever, just looking at pure probability theory, it happens with a lot of these dev studios. When you see delays like this, something is going wrong. Now, we won't know the specifics until some investigative reporting is done, but Rockstar has cracked down quite hard on leaks, and I doubt we'll find anything until release, of which, assuming it even comes out this year.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? This game will eventually come out. That's why I don't really understand why people are like jumping up and down for it. Like, just be patient. It's like a lesson we learned from Cyberpunk 2077. It launched and it was a unmitigated disaster because at its launch, nothing worked. The police system didn't work. Like, the game barely worked. Nothing worked for anyone. It just was an unfunctional launch. And they
It
did
was even
eventually
worse on
patch it.
console.
Oh, on console they ended up canceling it, but yeah, for several of them. But like, or was it for the PlayStation or something?
PlayStation.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Like, it was an absolute disaster, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time in the industry. But at the same time, it was one of those things that I think people learned from, and I hope they learned from, to be like, okay, if you're excited for Grand Theft Auto 6, that's fantastic. But at the same time, temper your expectations and be prepared.
Be patient.
Because there's no negative thing for being patient. Just like there's nothing wrong with questioning maybe if we shouldn't like overly get into the hype in the modern era. Why? Because, well, like even if you look at Halo 1, 2, and 3, right? When Halo 3 launched, it was a phenomenon. But at the same time, people might forget certain things. People, while they did play Halo 3, were actually disappointed about several things about the game. There was like something about the multiplayer I can't quite remember at the time, and the people were also very disappointed with the runtime of the campaign, as well
It
as
was
how
very
the
short.
yeah, because at the time, well, I love Halo 3 to death. It's one of my favorites. The complaints were like people didn't enjoy the fact that the characters just said quippy like one-liners and then died, which that did happen in the game. I still like Halo 3 a lot. But there was a lot of things at the time that people said that they weren't particularly happy with. But the game still did incredibly well commercially anyways. And it's okay for a game to have some missteppings here and there. It's made by human hands. Like, nothing's perfect in life. But at the same time, when it comes to games like this or Grand Theft Auto 6, they've invested a lot of money into this game. And I have to ask myself, like, okay, like what mechanical differences is this game going to offer compared to Grand Theft Auto 5? It's going to be more than just a story, I hope, right? This game is $2 billion. Like, $2 billion to develop this game. Like, man, mechanically this game should be insane. It should like be it should basically be the equivalent of Red Dead Redemption 2, all of its mechanics, all of the mechanics of San Andreas, all the mechanics of Grand Theft Auto 5 and more, like by double. Because it's $2 billion production, which means the systems, mechanics, and everything they can implement in this game should be insane. What you can do, like we should be able to open up businesses, we should be able to rob businesses, we should be able to start gangs, we should be able to do stuff. Like this should be like the ultimate like, crime simulator. We should be able to commit murders and all that stuff, and there should be like some dedicated like insane cop stuff that can happen in this game. Like, it's better be insane, because that's what I'm expecting. $2 billion. There better be some robust fucking syndicate systems and stuff in this game. And if this game just comes out,
I should be able to make crackheads.
yeah, we should be able to make and distribute drugs and literally make crime like stuff and do criminal things. If we can't
Yeah.
even do any of that, if it's like Grand Theft Auto
It's ve-
5 where you
you-
can just like hijack a car or shoot people and like maybe rob a store and that's it, that is not
That's
good
what it's
enough.
gonna be, Kibbs. It's gonna be that, and this is gonna be look at how
Take our
these
map.
people are oppressed that they have to do crime. They're actually the victims.
Don't worry, there'll be pride parades for us to go to in the game.
They will be mandatory, chat.
Don't worry, chat. I'm sure I'll find a good semi. She'll now I can
You
roleplay
assume
my
they would
German
let you do
terrorist
that,
attacks.
Gibbs? You'll fail the mission immediately.
Watch me. How many do you think I can get before my semi explodes?
It'll end the mission immediately the second one person is killed.
You do it, it uninstalls your game, it fucking B-sods you, and then you
It
have to
double
have bridge.
charges you for the game and then uninstalls.
Super woke.
Xenonauts 2 1.0 just launched. Should I buy it?
It's up to you.
It's a solid game. If you're looking for XCOM style, it's probably one of the best out there right now.
I'm gonna give it a little bit to let some patches come out for it after its launch, just in case there's anything wrong with it. But we
Yes,
are
the
going to be
1.0
streaming
also
it soon.
launch is workshop support, so waiting a bit for mods to come out.
That's
Will
the thing
also
I'm
be
really looking forward to, the modding scene for this game. I am
Yes.
super excited because the mods will be cool. So yeah, Xenonauts 1 did release, or Xenonauts 1. Xenonauts 2 did release today in this 1.0 build. I thought about streaming it, but I decided against it, mostly because I think I'm going to just let it cook for a couple days.
Yeah, let's see if any mods come out.
I wanted to see if any mods came out. I'll be real
Let's
with
see
you.
if the chat can be coerced into making a Chatfish mod.
I don't
Turns
know.
all the
Oh, God.
sectons or whatever into Chatfish.
Be terrible. Play, come here. He's like, it'll immediately report you for hate speech if you do that. Yeah, probably, right? It's like, oh, you can like kill people in Red Dead Redemption, tie them up, and like, see, I did experimented with how dark you could be in Red Dead Redemption when I first played it, and you could do some fucked up shit in that game. You can hog tie somebody and drag them around with a horse, right? But you can also hog tie them and drag them over water, and they'll start to drown. And they'll like try to keep their head up above the water in the shallow, but at the deep area, they'll actually not be able to keep their head up. And it's one of those
They
things
had to animate that.
where
Gibbs.
I had
they
I know. I had morbid curiosity, so I started doing it. And I remember the chat at the time was watching me do that, and we're going like, "What the fuck is wrong? He's a psycho." It's like, no, I'm just seeing what the game lets me do.
not only does the game let you do that, they actively animated it so you can do those things.
The fact that there's an animation for them keeping their head above the water was the most fucked up thing I think I saw in that game. It was pretty messed up.
Oh yeah.
Man, I remember that poor guy lost his YouTube channel because of that. Yeah, because he hogtied one of the women and threw him at set him in front of an alligator for the alligator to eat, and streamed it, and then he got his channel taken down, which again is is ridiculous. There really needs to be actual stuff to prevent YouTube from just doing things tyrannically. This isn't how do I put
Twitch,
this?
wasn't it?
No, I think it was YouTube. But the thing is, he got his channel restored. Yeah, but the damage you get from that is nuts. If that happened to me, like, oh my God. We have not enough finances to keep everybody going for like a month, right? Depending on how long that takes. Like, without getting like consistent donos. So like, if we don't make it, right? Well, we might for like a month. We'll make it for like a month, right? Because that's how the pay period works. But after that month period, like, then we're fucked. Because then if they don't get that channel restored by that certain period, that money won't come in. Which means I'm fucked. It means Salah's fucked. It means Carlos is fucked. It means Robert is fucked. It means Robert is fucked. Like, we're all fucked.
Go work at
It
McDonald's
means
again.
tons of people will literally lose their job at the drop of a hat because this channel supports several people entirely because of your guys' generosity that we're actually able to keep running in the studio. You literally are running an entire studio, and we use the finances from here to fund that. If they can just pull the plug on that and have no repercussions and don't have to back pay us for anything we lose, people will lose a lot more than just, some money. People will lose homes. People will lose things if that happens. That's why I think YouTube needs to be held accountable for shit like this, because they can't just do it. It'd be like the equivalent of me just not fucking paying Salah after he worked his ass off, right? Like, I stream 8 hours a day, right? Around. Not always every day, 8 hours a day, but every day, 365 days a year, every fucking day I'm streaming. I only miss like days occasionally when I have like internet outages, which that's happened like once or twice, but it rarely happens, right? So 365 days of Kib time. Kib busts his ass off on this channel, working more than most streamers do in their entire lives, because I'm also trying to fund a studio, right? What happens to me when something bad happens? What happens? Am I allowed to communicate with my audience? No. Am I allowed to talk to you guys? No. YouTube doesn't want me to talk to you. They actually said that. They said that I'm not allowed to like tell you guys anything if something happens. I'm not allowed to let you know. That, again, the reason for that is so that when I'm punished, that I suffer. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's the weirdest shit. It's like, we want to make sure that you really understand you fucked up. So you're not allowed to speak to them. And if you do, we'll delete everything. That's YouTube. And I've been down that rabbit hole once before with them. And it was over something that was illegitimate too. Something that I didn't even do wrong. They owe Kib. Except for that one thing. One thing I ever did. And they never did that to me that way. One of my artists accidentally did a nip slip. I beat him to death. I beat that artist to death. I beat that artist. He's dead now.
True. He is.
But yeah.
I helped bury the body.
And so, like, if that happens to, like, little tiny Kib, now imagine somebody else, right, whose livelihood, like that other guy who was making the alligator video, right? Maybe he's got a family, maybe he's got kids to feed, a wife and stuff. How's he going to put bread on the table? Being a streamer is a job. It is. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, it doesn't really matter, right? I didn't want to be a streamer. It just sort of happened. It was an accident. It was because when I lost everything, I was like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I'll just stream and see if I make it. And then I made it somehow because you guys helped me. You guys saved me. Literally. And so it was like one of those things where it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. I honestly have always been dismissive about it. Ever since then, I ate my own words. I was wrong. I can do it. And not only can I do it, thanks to you guys, it's entirely possible. The impossible is possible because of Chatfish. But yeah, you see what I mean? Now imagine that guy, right? Now he loses his little channel, right? How's he going to pay his family? How's he going to pay the bill? How's he going to feed his kid? How is he going to afford to take his kid to school? Where's he going to get the gas for his car? Right? Did YouTube pay him for the money and damages they did? Because it is damages. They effectively block you from communicating, by the way. So I want you to know this. The reason why I push my Discord so heavily, by the way, is entirely due to the fact that it is my last line of defense to communicate to you guys if something bad happens. Because if something happens, just like with that guy, what happened to him, or anyone else it happens to, or will happen to, because it's going to, and it's happening to people right now, they can't communicate with their audience. They're muzzled. You're not allowed to speak to you. It's how they control us. It's how they make us, submit to fear. And I don't blame them, for like giving in. Like, what do? You got a wife and kid to feed, What are you supposed to do? You beg and you grovel. That's all you can do. And that's the sad reality. There is no protection. YouTube is literally one of the most tyrannical shitholes, one of the worst employers, I think, on this earth. Probably. Well, they're not employers, right? Because we're not technically employees. That's why they get away with it, right? But at the same time, they pay us. And at the same time, they take 30% of our money. They take 30% of our money, right? And we don't get to talk to anybody. We get a fucking bot. I have to beg on Twitter Just like that guy had to beg on Twitter too for help and hope that some other YouTuber that's bigger than me will retweet it and pray. When that happened to me last time, there was one YouTuber who helped me. One. Nobody else did. None of my friends did. The only person who did was a guy by the name of Razorfist. The only person who helped me. Nobody else did anything. One person. Now, I'm very grateful for that one person. But it's one of those things you never forget when it happens. I'm just telling you. You never forget it. Because it's one of those things where it's like, when push comes to shove, who will actually help you? Either way, moving on. So, sad, dark times of being a YouTube slave.
Unfortunately.
That's why I hope my game takes off so that I don't need this for money. Then we can just, be like, I can stream for fun, instead of being like, if I don't, I'll die. I'm joking. Actually, no, I'm not. I'll actually die. But jokes aside, yeah, GTA 6, one of those things that's kind of dumb. I know it's a weird segue, but it got me mad about the fucking YouTube situation stuff because it drives me up the wall. And you guys, when you mentioned that happening to that YouTuber, because it's happened to me now, I very much understand what it feels like to be afraid. To be in a position where you're scared. Like that is a terrible feeling. To know that I have to talk to like dev team members. Oh my God. It's one of those moments that you'll never forget. Be like, guys, I don't know where the money's going to come from, but you got to have to figure out something. Because I remember we had an emergency meeting to talk about that. It was like, guys, we have an issue. We don't have the ability to make money on the channel. You all need to now scramble to get other clients because I will not be able to pay after a certain time because that money will be gone. That was the most terrifying moment in my entire life. And I never want to be in that situation again. But I know I could easily be back in there because nothing's changed since then. Nothing has changed. My family will come to help me. I know that. Like, I got a great family. They'll back me up. But the thing that makes me mad, Chad, is not necessarily I'm worried about myself. I'm worried about my team members and my family. Well, my dev team family. Because I got, like, how the fuck am I going to help them? Oh, by the way, family members, can you also take on all the money I owe all these people so that they can live too? I know you're also feeding me. That's just not something you can ask somebody. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. That's why I just really don't like the idea that YouTube fucking did that. You know what I mean? Like, YouTube is one of those really bad things. YouTube makes you realize who people are real quick. Who the good ones are, who the bad ones are. Because you see what happens when you get pushed. And people either help or they just watch.
Kibbs is one of the bad ones. He's always trying to groom people.
Yeah, gonna get you. But yeah, YouTube rants aside, we need to just drop the YouTube thing. I don't know, Chet. I'm just getting mad about it and getting worked up over something that probably nobody gives a damn about. So let's see. Moving on. Next thing, Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. I swear to God, this stupid fucking thing.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, chat. If you're ever trying to use capture cards, I don't recommend Avermedia. Go with Elgato. Yeah, they're pain in the ass, but you know what? At least Elgato didn't do this shit to me, where it's a copyrighted material. Shut the fuck up, Elgato. Or no, it's Avermedia. You don't. Oh, just such a headache. All right. Either way. Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto says there's only so many people Nintendo can reach through consoles like the Switch 2. So we want to expand outside of video games. Miyamoto wants fans to think about what kind of world Nintendo will expand on now, not what games it might make next. Nintendo legend and father of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, thinks that there's a limit to how many people the company can reach through Nintendo systems and consoles. Holy shit, this is incredible line of thinking, chat. Oh my God. And so he wants his beloved red-hatted plumber to continue to evolve outside of video games, speaking in a new interview with Polygon about Super Mario Galaxy Movie. Oh. I don't think it's the thing I think I'm thinking it is. Miyamoto is presented with the point that thanks to the movies, many fans will now be countering Mario for the first time ever, without even playing any of his games. Asked if this has any impact on his thoughts when it comes to making games, Miyamoto says he's keen to see Mario evolve outside of the format he was first introduced in. When we're talking about Mario as a character, he's always evolved alongside the evolution of digital media. He begins, as we approach Mario and developing Mario games, I start to feel like there's only so many people that we can reach through Nintendo systems and consoles. See, that's a good line of thought. Maybe think about opening up the PC, you fucking goober. And so now,
Everybody's been saying that after this news came out.
with things like digital streaming and the expanse and reaching in the reach, of what the technology allows now, I feel like that's a great way to get Mario involved too, and really be able to evolve alongside with digital media. I mean, it's great that you're thinking about expanding Mario onto movies and that movies are doing good for you. I'm happy for you, but you know what you should also be thinking about? You're in the right headspace, Miyamoto. You should be thinking about expanding it to other places. Literally, you are just handicapping yourself to the fucking Switch. Like, you could eclipse so many people. Nintendo, I offer you the potential. Well, actually, I don't offer you shit, but I offer you an idea that might see you make a shit ton of money. More than you could possibly imagine. Put the entire Zelda, the entire Mario, the entire Star Fox, and all the other crap, put all that shit, port it all over, and slap that shit on Steam. Now watch as you print fucking money forever. For literally ever. You will make so much goddamn money, it won't even be funny. You could even do things like the Mario bundle for all the Mario games. It's $60. And all of a sudden, that shit's going to sell like hotcakes, like the Master Chief Collection. Call it the Mario Collection or some shit. Or the Link Collection or whatever. I don't fucking care. That shit would print so much goddamn money and would sell forever. Because guess what happens with media? New generations get older. New generations play older games. This does happen. Now, granted, yes, there is a smaller margin of newer generation people that will play older games, but Capcom discovered this recently. In Capcom, I'm so proud of you. You're doing it. You're being a little less retarded. Capcom did something wonderful, chat. Little Captards, where are they? Look at this. They put Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 on Steam. No, it's on Steam now.
No. They did something.
Yes, I know, but either way, moving on. You're thinking small thinkies. Think big thinky. Then think small thinky. Not small thinky, then big thinky. Now, more importantly than Chumpa's small thinkies, because I know exactly what he's going to talk about, and it doesn't matter right now. Firstly, they put Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 on Steam. That is a good thing. Say it, Chumpa. Say it.
Oh.
It's a good thing. It's good that it's on more platforms, isn't it?
Yes.
Good, Chumpa. Good. Now, Chumpa can elaborate on what he was going to say. Little shit.
I don't want to now.
Oh, you pouty baby. Go ahead and say it before I do.
You can.
What a bitch. Look at that. See this fucking woman. Oh my God. Don't I have to put up with a chant? Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. What Chumpa was going to say was that they did put it on Steam. However, there is DRM on it. And that's why I don't recommend it on Steam.
Go to look at the system requirements for the first Resident Evil, Gibbs.
Its performance is not very good. You get the GOG version is better. Oh, where is it? What the fuck? 8 gigabytes of RAM? Are you shitting me? There's no way this thing needs 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, it's entirely because of the DRM. It is an unoptimized mess that just eats resources.
This version is inferior. If you want the Resident Evil Collection 1, 2, and 3, or Dino Crisis 1 and 2, head over to Good Old Games. It's the better version. Now, yes, Chumpa is right. Chumpa is right about the whole GOG thing. Or what he was going to say. This version is inferior. Capcom bad. Capcom, don't do DRM. This, honestly, we need to do a special bunch cast talking about DRM.
They hand you a cookie while they stab you in the gut.
Yeah, it's like, oh, eat the cookies.
Ooh, cookie.
So yes, this is bad, but good. It's good that they're putting it on Steam.
bad.
Fantastic. Capcom,
Bad, good.
and this comes from the fact that, for those who don't remember them, Good Old Games reached out to Capcom. It was like, Capcom. And the Japanese guy's like, huh? American? All right, no, it's Polish person. Polish person?
They looked up from their pile of cocaine.
Yeah. Huh? I was like, shot. And they're like, Capcom, why don't you put Resident Evil 1 and 3 on fucking GOG? And Capcom guy's like, what the fuck? Why would we do that? Why would we put Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, the OGs, on GOG? Who the fuck's gonna buy that? And the GOG guys had to literally argue and like explain why that people want old games and they would make money from this. Because Capcom executives could not understand why you guys would want to play this game, Resident Evil 1. Why would you want to play this, chat? They could not fathom a reason. Like, what the fuck? Why would you want to play this? Look at it. It's old. It's old. Controls are clunky. You don't want to play this. You don't want this. We're not going to put it on Steam. You don't want that. You don't want that. You want new thing. You want new shiny graphics. This, no. You don't want this. You don't. The problem is that this is artistically beautiful and retarded. This game is amazing. It's awful. I hate it. It's also one of those games that's, I genuinely like Resident Evil 1. I don't like playing it, but like, oh my god, is it an experience. It is such a campy fucking little shit. It's one of those games that, like, oh my god, I'm actually looking forward to playing Resident Evil 2 Classic now. These games are so fucking derpy and cheesy and shit that, like, I have a new complete perspective on this stuff. The controls are horrific, but like, oh my, and the moon logic puzzles can go to hell. But like, this shit's funny as hell. This fucking game made me laugh so goddamn hard. Goddamn.
Yeah, and my god. And if Nintendo would just copy Capcom's strategy, but without the DRM, oh my god, that would make a lot more money. And they really should, because the Switch 2 sales have softened quite a bit, even more so than they were expecting. Toward the point of, unless the RAM and parts crisis sorts itself out, their only other way of expanding, and really their main way of expanding, is to just expand to the PC audience, which will, let's face it, sail the high seas with their games with impunity, and combined with the fact of what they did to Pal World and all the other stuff, goodwill they lost, they really need to do something right than just make a Mario movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, back to like this, right? This is huge for video game preservation, like this stuff here. And that's why I think this is incredible, and I think this is amazing. And I think that we should be encouraging Capcom to do this. Now, Capcom should receive backlash for the DRM. What the actual fuck? Whoever keeps pushing this stuff, like, as a former anti-piracy agent, and yes, I'm going to constantly reference the fact that I worked in piracy. I'm not going to say that minorly, all right? It's one of those things, like, it agitates me because, like, I remember this line of thinking about DRM, and it's just like, the issue is that with DRM is, who does it actually punish? It punishes the people who buy the product. Who does it harm? Like, the people who give you money. What does it do? It only incentivizes people to pirate more because the pirated version is better. And if that's the case, then you're fucking up, you idiot. Like, you, oh my god, it drives me up the wall. And the worst part is they're so goddamn stupid. Like, I don't know if the mentality is still the same as it was, like, the years, I don't know how many years it's been since I was an anti-piracy agent now, because that was a long time ago. Maybe the atmosphere's changed, but I feel like it hasn't, because the DRM stuff I still see, and like the techniques I see that aren't working and still they do it, it feels like nothing has changed in that industry. It feels like they're entirely convinced that DRM good, DRM wise. Yes, punish the people who buy our game. It's like, okay, it's piracy a problem? Yes. But how do you deal with piracy? You make the game affordable? That'll mitigate it. You make it easily accessible? That'll help. You make it run well? That'll help. Because guess what? You're competing with the pirate sites. And what do the pirate sites have that you can't possibly do? You can't make your game free. You gotta sell it. All right. So they're gonna win that front. They're going to win for people who just want stuff free. But how can we make it better? Well, We put it up on Steam. We can make it run better. It's safer to acquire. If you buy it on Steam, you own it, and if you own it, you have it, and it's also downloaded through a vendor that's vetted and safe. Versus downloading from a torrent is not safe. You might get a virus, you might get some malware, you might get some ransomware, some nasty stuff. And so increase the reasons to get it the legal and safe way, and make it easy and accessible, and you'll have more people buy it. If somebody wants to pirate your game, I am fortunately going to break you a hard truth that's going to be hard to swallow. They're going to find a way to pirate it, no matter what. Doesn't matter. Even if I was still anti-piracy agent, you hired me, and I'm one of the best, right? I'm Kib, pirate slayer. But they're still going to pirate it. I'm gonna break that to you right now. There's nothing you can do to stop it, but there is things you can do to treat it. That's the thing. It is something you manage, like a disease, like an ailment you live with, right? It's not something that you could just cure, and DRM is not the cure. DRM is just another symptom of a problem. It's like fucking ingesting, I don't know, like mercury to fight your cancer. It's like, go, tasty. It's not going to help you. It's not like, fighting the cancer by trying to poison your body. And if I poison my body enough and kill myself, it'll defeat the cancer. It's not the same. It's not a cancer cell. It's literally just people doing stuff. There are different types of pirators, and I have to break it to you, Capcom, in a couple of ways. There's your hardliner pirates. The hardliners don't care. They're going to get it somehow. They're going to find a way to get it. They don't matter. Don't worry about them. Don't think about them. They're not a part of the equation. Who matters? Then you have your a little bit more hardliner or more dedicated pirates. They'll get it. Their odds are going to get it, because they're not you did something in the past and they don't like you anymore. So you might not ever get them to buy it again. Again, don't worry about them. They don't matter. Next group, casual pirators. People who pirate it because it's easy and it's quick. They're the easy ones to beat because they're also, and this might sound mean, they're also not particularly smart.
Yeah, for them, just make it so it's easier to find the official product.
Yes, if it's easier to find the official product than it is to find the non-official product, odds are you're going to get about the majority of those casual pirators to just buy your product instead. And if you want to mitigate that and nip it in the bud more, you'd hire an anti-piracy agency, and they can narrow that percentage down even harder. To the point where the casual pirators will be almost non-existent compared to the hardliners who are going to pirate it anyways. They will always be there. They don't matter. They were never going to give you money anyways. They're not a part of the equation. They're not a part of the equation. And that's the issue. The DRM is just incentivization for piracy. That's why, again, Capcom, what they should do, now it doesn't affect me anymore, but what they should do is hire an anti-piracy agency to literally just sweep. Do the standard sweep and crawler. That's it. That's good enough. No DRM.
Kibs.
Small payment.
Raining.
Hey, what?
Kibs in the street. It's raining. Ripping his shirt. Capcom.
Capcom. Yeah, maybe if I was still an agent. I don't know if I want to go back to doing that, though. I kind of like my new job more. I think streaming is more fun because I have chatfishes. And chatfish are amazing. And looking at websites with porn links in them is not my favorite pastime.
Now, I have to go soon. Can you do the Indie Pass article?
No. He's like, mm-mm. Gamesindustry.biz. A game pass for indie games. Meet Indie Pass, a $6.99 a month subscription, launching with 70 titles. That sounds... Oh, you know what? Just go ahead and tell me your thing.
Oh, no. That's basically just what the article is, kid.
This sounds rancid, honestly.
It is.
This sounds terrible. This sounds like a very bad move for indies to take, honestly, in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. Maybe I don't know what's best for other indies, obviously, because I'm just a one dude, and I'm just thinking about my own project. But this sounds retarded. Any subscription-based models are genuinely the worst idea possible, and I find them revolting, and I think we should get rid of them.
Go ahead and read through it, Gibbs.
Independent game publisher Indie.io is launching a subscription service called Indie Pass, which will offer access to a revolving catalog of indie games for $7 a month. The platform is set to go live on April 13th and will launch with around 70 titles, many of which from the company's existing stable of games, such as Echoes of Plum, excuse me, a little bit of burp, too much root beer, and the Dark Deity series, but the firm is working to sign up games from other developers who will earn from a revenue share based on player engagement. This is a bad idea. In my opinion, this is just a really bad idea.
So that's the I don't know if that's the person directly behind it. Oh, that's the director of growth for indie.io.
Yeah, this could be great for, like, as a consumer, this is probably good for, but for indies, this is like lethal. Don't do it. This will kill indie studios. This will kill them.
Yeah, why pay for your game when I can just pay for this sub?
And I agree with you,
your
Grumpy.
game for
I
a
think
little bit.
this is good for consumers. This is good for the guy running it. This is terrible for developers. Do not do this. I just think this is really bad. I also think subscription-based models are bad in general for consumers in the long run. A subscription model is going to harm the consumer more than anyone else in the long run. Why? Because revisiting the game will become more difficult, and the idea of removing owned media is a huge thing the industry wants to push. If this takes off, this will harm the consumer more in the long run than it will actually harm the developer. The developers will be dead from this.
Yeah, and imagine that if you go too much to subscriptions, and let's face it, a lot of people want that feeling of owning their stuff. Pushing the subscriptions too much could unironically make piracy skyrocket because people are just going to go, no, I want it on my computer. I want to feel of ownership. And if you're just going to do the subscription-based model and I can never own my stuff and force
you will
it on
own
me.
nothing and be happy. That's what this is right here.
Yes.
That's why I kind of dislike World of Warcraft. Like, I enjoy World of Warcraft, but like having to pay a subscription model for a game that I bought and expansions I purchased. Like, as a kid, I didn't know any better because it wasn't my money. But I'm an adult now. And now as an adult, I feel like that those things shouldn't be that way. Because guess what? I actually have to work for money now. As a child, I was like, Dad, new World of Warcraft thing. He's like, oh my God, wow. And then we played it, right? But as an adult, I'm like, well, now I can't play it at all unless I pay like a bajillion bucks. So I don't know if that's actually a good model. I don't think that get my entertainment value. I feel like I got more entertainment with my dad buying games and playing them together, and then we just play them whenever throughout the years I grew up. So we got a lot more mileage out of that than even we got out of WoW. And we got a decent mileage amount out of WoW. Granted, it was at its peak. But that's in contrast with the subscription model, right? Do porters subscribe to shit must be able to pay once or can't afford, says Heretical Nerd. Yes, this subscription models are also really bad and pretty bad for people who don't have a lot of money, mostly because they're meant to milk you perpetually with more fees. Again,
a lot of them also will either change their price arbitrarily without really notifying you.
Well, yeah, they will
accurately, or make it really pain in the ass to cancel.
Now, there are laws that prevent them from making it as much of a pain, but they still find ways. Because technically there was a law in the United States about making it inaccessible to get access to the unsubscribe thing. But the thing is, they still find ways to try to make it as hard to find or as like unintuitive, so you can't find it, because they want to make it too much of a hassle for you to do. It's just really
it was
scummy.
Adobe, wasn't it, who charged you a several $100 fee if you cancel early?
Mm-hmm. Now that I'm older and wiser, I realize subscription models are bad, and they always have been. They've been a really bad way to gouge players for a long time for things that are usually not good, for things that are really bad. Because the big problem is with subscription models is that the corporation doing it's making a killing. And I'm all for profits, right? But at the same time, are they actually giving us content? Are they actually investing into that game? World of Warcraft proves us no. Star Wars The Old Republic Online proves us no. They still make stuff, but is it really making anything? No. Their new content is really bad. But yeah, subscription models are just bad. They are just bad. They're bad. They're bad for the industry. They're bad for studios. They're bad for the consumer in the long run because you'll own nothing. If you have a
So-
subscription to something now, you might be fine with it now, but that's because you have it now. Once that time expires and once that changes, and as you age, you'll discover something rather interesting. You'll find that it's not worth it. And then when you look back retrospectively, you'll begin to ask, was it ever really worth it? Even all those years.
So
Curious.
to address what Grumpy's saying about how he thinks that his Final Fantasy subs are worth it because he gets a lot of entertainment. The problem here, though, Grumpy, is if it had just been a one-time payment, you would have saved a lot of money. And if you ever stop having to pay, you lose access to all the stuff on there.
You own
You don't
nothing.
actually own your character. You don't own that stuff.
Yeah, they own it. You own nothing.
So while you might be getting your money's worth out of you, and it's always nice when you can actually get that feeling of, yeah, well, this was absolutely worth it.
Mm-hmm. But the real
But
question you should be asking
something
yourself,
happens-
more than that, though, is you should actually be asking yourself, okay, what happens when the servers go down? What do you own? What happens to my World of Warcraft characters once they pull the plug on the servers? What happens to all that time and money? I bought World of Warcraft. I own it. I own the box. I own a couple of boxes, actually, because I bought the expansions physical back when they did that. What happens when they unplug the server? What
I
happens
mean, that
to
is just a flaw with MMOs in general.
That's why the SKG movement is an instrumental part of actually improving this.
Yes.
Because a sunset policy is a way to protect you. A sunset policy is pro-consumer and pro-developer. Why is it pro-developer, you ask? Well, that's because most developers, you're going to probably be baffled to find this out, most developers would actually prefer if you actually got to play their game, the game they spent their lives working on. That's why most developers are actually for the sunset policies, because they exist to protect you and they exist to preserve their work. It's just a net good thing. Companies need to be made to do this because corporations are evil. Because the ones who suffer again aren't the people who actually worked on the game. You know who it is? Some suit who's parachuted from that project don't parachute away. They're not there. They don't care. They don't care about the game and they don't care about you. They don't care about the developers. They don't care about the product. They just care about the money. Which is funny, because you think that'd be antithetical to their entire existence. Yet here we are discussing how ridiculous they are in perpetuity. It's just nuts. Because I, too, didn't believe that shit was like, what? You'd have to care about the game. You want to make money, right? Well, you care about the quarterly, and that's all you care about. And that's the biggest problem. So yeah, the big fundamental issue is that subscription models are not good for you. They never have been. That's why we should continue to advocate for a pro-consumer mentality and a pro-developer mentality. Both can benefit from this. Works get preserved, developers are happy, their legacy is secure, the player who paid for the game is also able to play the game they paid for. This is a good thing. To argue against this is, well, interesting. I will just say that much. But beyond that, that's my only opinion on the matter.
So basically, though, short term, a subscription model can be nice for the consumer. Short term.
Yeah, short term. Short term, a year or two, maybe 3, maybe even 4. But even then, after all said and done, after my dad and I were done for World of Warcraft, I think in the long run, it was worse. Well, we did have fun times together, and we did do a lot of stuff together. At the end of the day, it wasn't worth it. It never was. Because if you look at how much you ended up spending, you spent like thousands and thousands on something that was never going to be yours in terms of a video game. Adverse to a $20 video game, which is forever and eternal. It is forever. There is no reason whatsoever to argue for a game's termination. There never will be. It's nonsensical and illogical. But nobody's arguing for that. I just find it interesting that corporations seem to think that the people actually want that, which is nonsensical and illogical. Even from a developer standpoint, even from a consumer standpoint. Isn't that fascinating, Chumpus? Chumpa! Worthless. He's dead.
No,
Look at him.
but soon.
Soon he will be. But yes.
Also, on the topic of games and setting, I did hear that progress is slowly being made with the Stop Killing games, though.
Yeah, they are. They're making grounds, which will be a net win for everybody. Nobody will
Yeah.
lose from this. Because that's one of the things I think people are finally realizing, because the misinformation campaign is now kind of finally lost. The reality is that what does stop SKG, what happens to the industry if they win? Does it harm Final Fantasy Online? Does it harm World of Warcraft? Does it harm Star Wars: The Old Republic Online? Does it harm Star Trek Online? Does it harm Planet Side 2? No. It has zero negative impact on these companies. What does it do? It merely means that a policy must exist. What is a policy? You have to tell the consumer what you're going to do. And that's the answer. Honesty and transparency. What does that mean? It means that they have to tell you, no, we're not going to do anything. We have no intention of making sure that you can keep playing this. We have to be honest and tell you that. That is all the sunset policy is. They don't even have to do anything. They have to tell you the truth. And the truth is, the game you buy, you don't own. And you won't get to do anything with. And honesty is the most important thing. Check where.
Honesty is important, and transparency.
Yes, I think it's super important. I think it's time for the industry to stop lying to people. Because that's one of the big things that these suits and execs do. They get in between developers and players, and they prevent us from communicating. They force LGBTQ things and things that don't belong, like they did with Final Fantasy XIV, and like they did with World of Warcraft. Both things have already been diseased by these things. And it's sad. It's happened to everybody. I think it's SWTORs as well, but I don't actually know because I don't play the new crap. It's so bad. But yeah, they've all got woke things in them now. All of them. Star Trek Online, Final Fantasy XIV Online, World of Warcraft. They're all woke. And that sucks, but does it mean the game's unplayable? No, not always. In the case of World of Warcraft, yeah, kinda. It's pretty bad. That one's a bit more critical in my opinion. But regardless, it's one of those things where it's going to be good because it's going to force developers to finally start being honest for a change. Well, not developers, but executives. They won't be able to get in the way. Now they can actually say on the title of the game. So when people buy World of Warcraft, by the way, you'll be buying this. Our sunset policy is we don't have one. Meaning, or we don't. Our sunset policy, no, it's not. We don't have one. It's that we don't intend to give you guys the server tools. We don't intend to give you anything. So once the game servers go down, everything you bought, all those digital items you paid for, are gone. That is important. That is a victory for you. That is a victory for the developer. That is a victory for the industry. Because it means honesty wins. And honesty is what we need in the industry. Because we don't have that right now. All we have are lies, lies, and more damnable lies. That's what happened with Ashes of Creation. That's what's happened with World of Warcraft. That's what's happening with Star Trek Online. All of it's just a series of like, oh, you own this? It's like, no, I don't. I bought this thing. I paid for it, this 3D model, but I don't actually own it. I don't even own it outside of the game. It just disappears when I don't have a subscription. Tauber says, oops, excuse me. God dang it. I got to lay off the rope here. Jesus Louises. Yes, Star Wars: The Old Republic did get woke stuff, but it looks like it is getting back on rails, not made of smoke. Really? I don't believe that. I'll believe it when I see it. Star Wars: The Old Republic Online might be my favorite one. It's got not very good gameplay, but it's got probably the best MMO storyline, I think, and I've ever seen in an MMO. It easily trumps out Final Fantasy, in my opinion, mostly because it's the first time in a continuity that I've seen things like narratively matter. Like where characters die, characters move on, they age, and things happen. And it feels like, wow, stuff happened. There's stakes in the story. Holy shit. And then the expansions come along, and nothing interesting happens. What a waste of money. Oh, man. The only thing I think cool about the expansion is that the timeline progresses and you can see people age. But beyond that, like, it just felt like, damn, what a wet fart.
I never really played, so I can't really comment.
Star Wars: The Old Republic Online is one of those, if you like Star Wars stories, you're in for the most amazing experience of all time, in terms of like extended lore and just writing in general. If you're not interested in Star Wars, don't waste your breath. You just don't belong there. But it's one of those things where it's kind of everything you want to see in like a story, where it's like, oh, it's like these huge epic stories that sort of like go on, and they're really fun and they're really interesting. The characters are fun. Darth Barris and all these characters, and Malgar or Malgar, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. And that other guy who's got spiky shoulders, I can't remember his name. But he's
I
dead.
have no idea what you're talking about.
He was pretty cool. He was based. There's just a lot of really cool characters. It's one of the times in the game where you get to see the bad guy story, and it's actually told very well. Because they let you play as the bad guys. And it's just like a really refreshing take. Where you get to see
That is
the
always
bad
fun
guys
when you
and
get
the
to see
evil
that.
empire, and you get to see them struggling to do like what they're doing. And like you root for them. And it's like, it's a really refreshing thing. Because too often the story's about the goody good guys. Like every MMO, besides SWTOR is about playing as the good guys for the most part. Play as good guys, hear the good guy story, good guy do good guy stuff, and it's fine. But it's like, it's really nice to be bad. Really nice to be evil for a change. It's just refreshing. All right, Chumpa, thank you for the $1, and good luck at work, Chumpus.
Yep.
See ya.
Have a good one, everyone.
We miss Chumpa chat. F some chat for Chumpa. Like, Chumpa, gone. Enough ranting about how I miss SWTOR being good, too. Yeah, boo-hoo. All right, let's see.
Next on the list.
We did this one already. This one comes to no surprise, but I want to wait to do that one. Next up, we have something rather interesting. This is also, again, a huge W for you guys, actually, and a huge W for developers. Not so much a W for Nintendo, though. So, USPTO rejects Nintendo's controversial summon character and let it fight Pokemon patent in non-final ruling as Power of Legal Battle rumbles on. Now, it's not over, but this is another victory. It's another victory, chipping on the side of the right side of gaming history. Now, what's the right side of gaming history, you ask? And why did I say something so controversially inflammatory like that? Well, what is Nintendo trying to do, Chatfish? They're trying to prevent developers from having mechanics. Now, this is something I hugely detest. Patenting mechanics. Yes, games have done this in the past, and there are patented mechanics, like time-based, turn-based combat mechanics that are not allowed to be used by other studios because it was patented. I don't know if that patent still holds up. I think that's why... I don't know if Expedition 33 actually touches on that. I'm not sure. Not that Expedition 33 does
so.
it, but it also has time-based mechanics in a turn-based game. And I forget which game patented something like that back in like the Nintendo Entertainment System days and the Super Nintendo Entertainment System days. It was a long time ago. Basically, it cockblocked developers from actually innovating and building on mechanics because they weren't allowed to. Maybe a more modern example for you guys, because I don't know if you guys really study video game history that much, would be Shadow of Mordor. You guys know that game. Shadow of Mordor has the Nemesis system. It's a mechanic, but it was patented. The issue with that is that because it was patented, anybody who tries to have some sort of hierarchical system where you can kill dudes and like fight dudes and like a power structure can't now make it because they patented it. And so because they patented a gameplay mechanic, nobody else can make that mechanic now. Nobody can build and make better versions of it or even make variations of it. They're just forbidden. It is untouchable. It means that gaming has now stagnated. And this is bad because patenting basically creates stagnation in mechanics. The thing about game development is that regardless, even for the game I make, if I make a good system and people want to use that system and improve and build on it, fan-fucking-tastic. Great. Wonderful. Beautiful. That is the game industry in its natural habitat. And developers usually don't, and publishers don't do this because it's one of those nasty nuclear option things. Like, what? If you do that, then everybody starts doing it. It gets really ugly, right? And it's questionable whether they should even be able to do that, right? It's like patenting the pause button. I mean, there have been cases where they've been attempts for shit like that, by the way. It's like, oh, the ability to pause in game is like a patent. Like, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? That's insane. Or the ability to save or have a rotary autosaves function. Like, for those who don't know, a rotary autosave is basically like a triple autosaves. It autosaves, the next autosave is on a separate slot, and the third autosave is on a third slot. And the idea with that triple autosave or rotary autosave slots is that way it prevents you from getting soft locked. Because some games, there are things that you can get soft locked where you open a door, like in a Bethesda game, it generates a save, and then you get killed. You got soft locked because you're basically in a no win thing where you just get killed every time you open that door. A rotary autosave system is a backup measure to prevent that kind of soft locking so that it's rotating autosaves based on pre-ascribed points that are a certain distance away from each other to prevent soft locking. That way you can be safe, right? Other than that, you'd have to do the standard quick save F5 and F6 or whatever button it is, right? Or just generate manual saves each increment that you have to remember to generate a save manually. Usually in the modern era, autosaves are so good nowadays because we've gotten so goddamn good at making them for the most part in most games that it's not really an issue anymore. Not to mention most games have some sort of autosave cycler as well. An autosave cycler I just think is a really cool system, and I think a lot of games should make use of it because it's a really good way to prevent soft locking. It just prevents that from happening because you can always rewind to a point farther back. But yeah. And that's why it's limited to 3, because you don't want to generate infinite saves because it takes up a bajillion, bajillions of space, depending on how games save. Also, no, that's an engineering thing. That's not related. That's a cool factoid. I was going to mention one thing that's interesting is that sometimes games save systems are so poorly made that they save every goddamn thing that ever was done in that particular session. Hence why save files exponentially inflate, because it's saving every little astronomical detail, like a snapshot of that point in time. Well, that's incredibly cool that it snapshots the entire instance. The issue is it just inflates your file just like a balloon. And now imagine if you generate a bunch of those saves. You had a huge series of balloons take up a huge amount of space. It's nuts. Some games do that. Can't think of any on the top of my head, but I remember having to deal with a game that did that where it was like, what the fuck? My hard drive's almost a quarter full. Because the saves were just that fucking big.
Yeah, you have a bunch of auto saves and then you have a bunch of quick saves just in case. But yeah.
It's nuts.
But yeah, as far as I know, this lawsuit, this patent strike down, it mainly affects the US lawsuit, which is honestly, let's face it, is the most important one. Japan, they're screwed. Let's face it. Nintendo has too much influence over the courts. They're screwed in Japan. But in the US, well, there is a good chance they're screwed in the US at least, which might give Pal World some leverage or US leverage to pressure Japan of, hey, cut this out.
Yes.
We're not going to respect your ruling.
The big thing is that if the US deems something to go a certain way to explain how the world works, then the world follows, usually. And those that wouldn't would never follow to begin with, right? So if the US passes or blocks Nintendo from patenting the system, that means that Nintendo is going to have a very hard time in Europe doing this and abusing this power, this thing, as well as even in Japan, they'll actually face pushback because it won't look so good on the world stage. Because the government is willing to allow Nintendo to act like a crime syndicate, so long as it doesn't, get them in big trouble or, makes the country look bad. But because this is becoming such a huge case, it has the potential to basically block out Nintendo in a way where they can't be backed by the Japanese government and basically are forced to actually adhere to, basic fucking laws, which will be good because they have a monopoly over there, and they genuinely do. Nintendo's one of those companies that they're kind of just terrible. Like, there's always like some silver lining about a lot of these companies, like with like Blizzard, like they were good at one point, right? Or like Raven Software, they were good at one point, right? Like we can say stuff like that. Like Nintendo's one of those companies that's like, they didn't
There
really
is
have
good,
like
but
their good
they make a
history is so small in comparison to all the bad they've done that it honestly like it's incredibly unethical. Like putting people who play their games and mod files into prison, for instance, is one of those ethical lines that as developers I think it's just too far. It's wrong. There's something deeply wrong about that. If
It comes
you
off as
buy my game, or you buy Grumpy's game, or Gregor's game, or Tauber's game, or Ragnarok's game, and you mod that game, you should not be able to put them in prison. It's just ridiculous. Like, you destroy entire livelihoods because they modded a video game. It's just a fucking video game. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a single player offline game. It's not like even an MMO. Like, it's one thing if they're scamming, right, on an MMO and scam people out of money. That's like, doing something else or doing something like that. But this is like a single player solo experience, and they're just modding something, tweaking something. Like, you own the game. You should own things. This is, again, ties back to the subscription question, because, again, the mentality, what do they not want? You own nothing. You will shut the fuck up. You will sit there and you will gobble up slop like a little piggy, and you will keep doing that like a good little piggy. That's what they want. They want you to be little piggies, and I want you to be little fishies. Fishies shouldn't be trapped in troughs. Though, despite some of you thinking you should be. I don't know why. But either way, like, it's not all right. The firing squad is reserved for modders, this comments are. Yeah, pretty much. Like,
it
it's
comes
nuts.
off as
It's actually nuts. Go ahead, Fuzzy.
it comes off as really. I'm not going to be nice to Nintendo. Really petulant, immature, petty. Insert bad word here to just imprison a modder. It's like, come the F on. Try not to curse here because YouTube, but come on. Nintendo, you have so many other problems to deal with, like the parts shortage and trying to maintain prices and everything. Metroid Prime 4 not selling bad despite the development nonsense, and having to completely restart from the ground up. You have all these problems you need to sort out of. And you imprison a modder and doing this pointless lawsuit against Palworld, of which, should you lose in the US, do you have any idea how much Palworld is going to milk you for money? Are you really good? It's clearly they are going to try and risk it because of their hubris and pride. But again, it just comes off as pointless, and you can see it in their stock price and their financials. They have other things they need to focus on, like their core business and serving the paying customer, to make people want to pay for their products instead of pissing people off and trying to force them into their products. Which a lot of this comes off as hey, you're not allowed to compete with Pokemon. We're going to try and force you into Pokemon by going after our competitors, which is literally what they're doing with Palworld.
Yeah.
It borderlines antitrust, if you ask me.
Well, the thing is, I think it's just unlawful, right? Like, if somebody buys my game and they break it and whatever, like, it was theirs. They can do what they want with it, right? It's not my place to tell you what to do with your copy of a thing. It is specifically a copy of a thing, right? I own the master copy, which is the original source. I can tweak and change that, right? But you also own a copy too, which means you can do whatever you want. Just like you can go to your video games on the wall, like over there, and I can snap the disc in half. That's retarded for me to do that, but I could snap those discs in half if I wanted to. They're mine to do with as I please. If I wish to destroy them, I can destroy them. If I don't wish to, I don't have to. I do not believe in video game destruction because I think I'm a preservationist for gaming, and I believe that all video games should be preserved for future generations because they have a right to experience it. But it's one of those things where it's like, I just really detest the idea that someone can face jail time because they modded their video game. I find it's
that's
just like, it's sickening. Like, it's like they just modded the game. Like, it's one thing if, like, let's say they modded like an MMO thing where they were getting your personal data and selling. Yeah, in that case, punish them. If they were hurting, if they was doing something that hurt somebody, yes, punish them. But if what they're doing hurts and harms nobody, then why are we hurting them? What did they do? He's just modding his own video game. Like, who cares? It's his.
Yeah.
To do with as he
pleases.
pleases.
And as Frederick and Kasevich pointed out, they're punishing the modders more than Palworld even, which just, oh my god.
Do they actually punish them and the modders, like, themselves? I don't remember. I only read the case about them punishing somebody who modded the game. Because the case of them modding the game, they faced like prison time over it. Do modders actually face worse than that? I don't know. I only read one thing.
Let me do a quick-
And
let me do a
that
quick
was a thing that
search.
like shocked me because I was like, "What? You punish people who mod your game? Are you insane?" There's something incredibly wrong. It's not even just a point to like disagree on this. This is one of these like this is a no-brainer issue. This is a literally you fucking can't you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah. $2 million lawsuit against popular Switch modding web store. That was from last year, September. It was September 7th, 2025. But
Twitch what?
yeah,
Twitch? Eh? Twitch
popular Switch modding web store.
Switch modding. Oh, they take the console and they break it, right? But they don't.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. They jailbreak
They
it is the phrase, right?
Yeah, they hack it.
Yes.
They hack the device.
Well, jailbreaking the device isn't, in my opinion, I don't know. I don't know if it is considered legal. I don't think so because you own it. You can do whatever you want with it, right? My grandpappy was a farmer, and so I know how bad John Deere and these corporations are, and how sick and disgusting they are. Like when it comes to like if you touch or tweak or try to fix anything of your on your own, we're gonna fucking kill you. That's basically what they do. Like it's like nuts. Like they're actually tyrannical little pieces of shit. So when it comes down to it, like certain corporations, like they're just nuts, right? Like Nintendo's one of those, but with video games, like the John Deere of video games. You can jailbreak your own. You can't sell jailbroken console or services to jailbreak. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah,
That
jailbreaking
makes
your
more sense,
machine
yes.
makes sense. Like you should be allowed to jailbreak your own because it's yours to do with as you please, right? It just uncaps the potential of what you're doing with the machine. But if you're offering a service to do that, that's also sketchy. Also, jailbreaking, if I remember right, how do I put it? It just basically allows the machine to do things it wasn't originally supposed to, right? Like the PSP was one of those pieces of hardware that was often jailbroken because the PSP had a serious, like, huge potential with what it could do. You could run pretty much all PlayStation 1 and N64 and like GameCube games. Or I don't know if GameCube games, but you could run a lot of shit on a PSP. PSPs were insane with what you could do with them once jailbroken because the amount of stuff you could do with it was insane. And so that's why it was a big deal to jailbreak PSPs. Because I remember kids always talking about that in school a lot. That the PSP was like a god machine once you untapped it. I never jailbroke
Yeah.
mine. Mostly because I didn't want to, because I was afraid of breaking it. And I also was just happy with how many good games were on the PSP anyways. But yeah. No, that is one of the few lawsuits Nintendo lost back then, says Kasvik. Wait, which one? Don't forget those corpos are actively still pushing and lobbying to make doing this kind of stuff illegal, let alone fix your own shit. Yeah. The right to repair and maintenance your own things should be allowed. There is no reason you should not be allowed to fix something in your own home that you own. Now, forcing somebody to have to pay for a service to have it replaced or fixed, in my opinion, is unethical to a high degree. Again, you will own nothing and be happy is an actual real thing. This is something that extenuates beyond just subscription things. It extends to also like John Deere products. It extends to the right to repair. That is actually just genuinely sickening. I can't even get over that shit. It's just so wrong in so many parts of the word. It's like you'd think the Constitution would have something in this to like. Maybe it does. I don't know. I must reread it again. Fuck. My mouse pad is literally the Constitution, for God's sake. But like I just can't believe that companies can get away with this, It's like this is fucked up. Like this is nuts. Like they're able to
Oh, I
just
know what.
deny you the
Go on.
ability to repair what you own. Oh my god. It's like seeds, genetic lines for seeds or whatever. That shit. You remember that, Fuzzy?
Yeah.
Where seeds would blow into certain
Uh,
crops and then they could seize crops for that and shit like that because like they pollinate each other's crops. That was a huge thing.
Okay.
Fuck.
Yeah. Also, I know what Kasovik's referring to. I had to do a quick refresh of the memory. It was Kasovik's responded to Cowcow's question about Game Sharks. That was a popular modding and cheat device you used on Nintendo games back in the late 90s, early 2000s that Nintendo tried to shut down, and Nintendo lost that lawsuit.
Yeah, because Game Sharks came from America, right? I can't remember 100%
Yes.
though. Which means
Yeah, this is a U.S.
in
lawsuit.
America they were protected. So Game Shark was safe. And Nintendo, yeah, because I remember as a kid, people were like, oh, Game Shark, so cool, can cheat code in game. And that's what made Game Shark such a cool thing, is that you could plug it into things and you could cheat on any game. It was a game you owned. You were just cheating. Now, the only thing that was really interesting about those is not the cheats per se, because I don't know. Cheating to win games, I only did that in Warcraft 3 because I wanted to know the story because I was really bad at it as a kid. But after I learned how to play the game, I don't ever think I wanted to do it again. But it's one of those things where it's like, cheat codes can be funny because they can add silly things like big goofy heads and stuff like that. You know, it's one of those things where it's not really harmful. In my box right over there, I don't know my point behind me, as if you guys can see. There's literally a bunch of gaming manuals, and then I can see the cheat books I got from Barnes and Noble over there for PS2 and GameCube games of those years, 2004, 2005. Yeah, right there. GameCube, 2004 cheats. Yeah, like literally, that book is just filled with cheat codes, alphabetical from all the games that were released that year, and the cheat codes that go along with them. Like, it's one of those things that people actually, like, they sold books about that. I don't think they do anymore. But it was a very different time, I'll tell you. Man, the gaming of this current year, I feel so bad for modern gamers. I feel so bad for my little brothers because I talk to them about gaming, right? And like their experience with video games is so, how do I put this nicely?
It's gonna be very different than how we experience.
Well, it's inferior. It's actually just inferior. They have access to more games than we had, technically. There's one thing in that regard, they're stronger due to the digital age and the information age being really taken off now, and internet connection is better. But in terms of like cultural things that gaming offered back then, the 2000s had things, the 2000s had some things that were never really seen again on a scale of which that were truly special. That's why it's like one of those things. I'm very grateful we grew up in the generation we did. We grew up in an actual golden age, an age of unprecedented, amazing things. Genuinely. But at the same time, we grew up in that age, but that age was not preceded by anything on that level. Make me a little sad. I wish we'd get something like that. That's what I hope. As the game industry, I really want us to make that magic return. At least as a fellow indie. I hope we can. I know the indie renaissance is a golden age, and indies are doing a bang-up job. You really are, all you guys out there. You're doing a bang-up job of making some really amazing video games. Genuinely knocking them dead out there. Genuinely. Based. But, like, I really, really hope we get something to really shock the next generation. Like we were when we were kids. That's my goal. We gotta make something really special. You know what I mean? For them to really get stoked about.
I haven't really seen it in a long time, such as
Well, we had Silk Song. I mean, we did have some things, just not
Silk Song
on
comes
the
the closest
level.
I remember,
Yeah,
but
because
not
the
on the same
younger guys really
scale.
like Silk Song. I know that much. What?
But yeah, the younger guys like Silk Song, but it's not that much of an innovation. It's like it maintains it's a slight upgrade, you could argue, from Hollow Knight in terms of just mechanics and in terms of cultural value. Yeah, it's sold better, but it's not gonna be the same. Oh my god, this is revolutionizing, say, RTS. It's not the equivalent of Age of Empires 2 that still
We
lasts
haven't
to
had
this
a
day.
groundbreaking like game where it's like, oh, mechanically this really is. Well, no, we've had a few, but they haven't been like on the level like Resident Evil was. Like Resident Evil was groundbreaking. I did a lot of research because before my time, I was like only 4 years old, but or was it 2 years old? I don't remember. I was a little guy, little person. But I do know that when Resident Evil came out, it was a groundbreaking revolution for how horror games were being done and absolutely revolutionized them. In the same vein that, Command and Conquer helped revolutionize real-time strategy games. It really did shake things up. And
Early Blizzard.
because Command and Conquer
Yeah,
did the first revolution, then Blizzard followed in the golden wake of that and was able to really like make some huge changes there. Yeah, there was a lot. Also, I see Commissar Czar's little comment. It's me, the great indie savior. That ain't me. I'm making like a niche genre game, chat. We're making a tactics game. That's niche. That ain't gonna fucking blow people away. It's gonna be make people happy, but nothing like those guys what we're talking about. Like the Resident Evil success, that's something on a level that I don't know if we could ever see again. That was huge. Resident Evil's like a multi-million copy selling fucking franchise. And it sells
it's
like
just a
20
straight line
million
go up.
copies. Like it's nuts. Just insane. Like Dead Space 1 sold 1 million copies. Resident Evil, like, sold, what was it, 4? Like, was it 14 million or something like that? I can't remember. It was like fucking up there. It was huge. I guess the closest thing we've seen to that is actually Fortnite. Fortnite actually did do some huge revolutionary things to the industry. It's one of those controversial things because it also introduced really bad things. Adverse to Resident Evil
Monetization,
1.
and it's a decade old now.
Yeah, adverse to Resident Evil 1 or Minecraft. Minecraft would be a better example. Minecraft was definitely revolutionary. But the big thing about, like, problem with Fortnite is that it was very predatory towards children with marketing in such a way that it was honestly kind of like creepy how effective it was at just like targeting children. And it's one of those things where it's like not just like as a, like it's a kids game, but it's like I'm talking about the microtransaction system, how gougy it is. It's one of those things where, again, you know, it is the parent's fault if the kid gets access to the credit card. But man, I don't know. When it comes to microtransactions, I've grown more and more negative towards them in my older years, mostly because I see them for what they actually are. And I see them as basically slicing a game up into various pieces and selling you separate pieces. And when I was younger, I didn't care for them too much because they were always annoying because I'd be like, Dad, I want the map pack for the game because all my friends have it and I can't play with them. Which is also really predatory when I think about it. It's like, oh, exclusionary tactics. Interesting. Bought the game, but you use map packs. That's also why they actually ended up getting rid of map packs. That was actually a positive change the industry did. They got rid of map packs because it actually hurt games more than it helped. And for those who are curious about that, when I did studying on that, the fun part about that was developers realized that map packs actually killed multiplayer games faster than it helped promote them, because what it did is it actually took a already sort of like, you know, Twilight gaming market, right, of gamers that were playing the game, and then started to divide them into sectors, like this map pack sector, this map pack sector, and so all of a sudden players were finding games less and less, and so interactivity tanked faster and faster because they were cordoned off into different corners doing different things. And whenever they do that, it would also create new things that would just fall out completely. Battlefield 1 realized that, and that's why they basically retroactively made the Revolution Edition. It was actually during Battlefield 1's era when the map pack actually finally died. Thank fucking God. Map packs were bad. Free maps were always a good idea. But the problem with map packs is, as somebody who grew up, you know, upper middle class for a while until 2008, I can tell you how it worked out. It was Kib got map, wanted to play with friends. Friend didn't have map. Kib felt bad about it. Kib would then squirrel away money to buy map pack for friend, and then would have to do that for each friend in Kib's friend group. So Kib worked ass off to make money to pay for other friends who couldn't afford their map packs, so that we could actually play the damn thing together. Oh man, that was annoying. I was always annoyed by that. But I think my parents were cool because they actually let me like work to make money. So I'd do stuff and they'd pay me. So that's how I managed to get that. Versus a lot of kids' parents at the time didn't do that. They're like, you're just going to do chores and you ain't getting a dime. My parents are like, you can do chores and you'll make money. But if you don't do anything, you don't get nothing. It's okay. Okay. Chat, quit talking about that fucking saves the game industry stuff. That's funny once in a while, but not all the time.
We all know Gibbs doesn't like it.
Gibbs will save the games industry, and along the way, maybe the memory of millennial writing, and second one, way less likely. The memory of millennial writing? I don't want to save that. I think we can let that die out.
Millennial writing is a golden age of millennial writing now.
Millennial writing is, I think, the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, because it's like I always have a lot of self-doubt when it comes to my writing. I'm like, oh God, am I writing fire or am I writing like genuine putrid filth? Are people going to like this? And usually people actually really do. And I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit more happy, but I'm always scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm always scared because I don't know what you guys are going to think. You guys might hate the characters I'm making. I hope not, but I don't know. I'm not smart enough to divine that. I'm too stupid. So when I see millennial writing, I'm like, oh, thank God. At least I'm not that bad.
No, I mean, look what they're doing to a lot of genres right now. Oh my God.
At least I'm not Marvel writing. All right. So like that's the only
At
bit of
least,
happiness I have. The only bit of-
yeah, at least you're not. Oh my God, what's that Square Enix game that flopped?
Oh, Forspoken.
Forspoken. Yeah, at least you're not Forspoken. Millennial, one of the
You have
peak
to
examples of
try to write like that, okay? Like there are some things that's always tricky, like with complex plots or like certain things for characters that you want to push, and it's like, oh, hopefully it'll come across that way. This is a bit risky, or ooh, this might be a bit of a dangerous move doing this. And you're always about balancing the risks you take. But when they wrote Forspoken, that was more of like, let's try to write the most ass dialogue possible. That wasn't even that was genuinely like a stretch goal for them internally, I feel. You have to try to write that bad. There's a difference. There is a difference. There's a difference between somebody who genuinely tries and fails and somebody who simply just doesn't give a shit. And Forspoken felt like the latter. They just didn't give two fucking shits about the thing they were working on, right? Mass Effect Andromeda is bad, but it tries. It's bad, but it tries. And you can tell it tries, even though it's bad, right? There's a difference. Adverse to Dragon Age Veilguard, you can just feel the venom in it. Like they genuinely hate the thing they're working on. They genuinely want to deconstruct the world they're writing. They don't like anything about it. They find it problematic. And you can just sense the venom in the writing, right? Because you can feel it. I know you guys can. I know you guys felt it too when we played Veilguard. Oh, fuck. I feel
Oh
like
God,
sometimes that
Veilguard.
game was like a dream. It wasn't real. But
Hey,
like,
did you hear about the ancient elven gods? Oh my God, I didn't know about the ancient elven gods. Do you stop the ancient elven gods? My God, stop saying that.
so my ancient elven gods. And it's like, oh, God. But yeah, so like, oh my Jesus. Have a good one, folks. Sadly, I'm not still feeling well. Okay, Cassie, make sure you take it easy. You
Yeah,
know, rest up, buddy, and
take
make
it
sure you
easy.
get some nutrition in that little body of yours, boy. That little chatfish body needs food in the tummy. Unless you're feeling nauseous, then maybe don't. Maybe don't barf. Let's see. I think that's why I hate working. I spent all my pre-adult life, says Tauber, working for nothing, and I don't like doing things in real life if I don't see a profit. Maybe. I guess maybe we had different experiences. Because as a little kid, I worked a lot with my dad. I always wanted to go with him on job sites because he was a contractor. And I would go everywhere with him all the time. And I wanted to. But it was also because I really, really liked my dad. Like, I really like my dad. We hung out. We did games a lot. We did a lot of stuff. I love my mom too, but my mom hated video games, so it made it very hard. Made it
One of
very
those.
hard for little Kim to like have a lot to like do. It's like, Mom, play video game with me, and Mom would look at video game and be like, no, like, damn it. But yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. If more, I just had a horrible headache all day. Oh, I understand you, buddy. I called out at work. I will be fine eventually. Yeah, just take it easy. Maybe just, just relax, lounge about, just don't do anything overexerting. And I hope you feel better, my dude. Take care. Does kids want to play Valgard again? No. Otherwise they'll be like Kasimic and I'll have a headache too. That shit genuinely sucked ass. Like genuinely. I don't think you guys understand how bad Valgard is. All right? You guys
Like,
had to watch it. I had to fucking play that shit. And I'll tell you this. Did we beat that game? Oh my god, we actually did. Fuck. We actually beat the game. Why in the fuck did we beat that game? You must have
chat paid for it.
Chat must have had to pay for it. Like I remember the ending and being fighting 3 dragons and it was really ass. And I hated every minute of it. Fuck.
Also, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, because we didn't do any of the side quests. I just was like just binging through the main quest as fast as possible. Fuck, it was real bad. My god, talk about a game nobody talks about anymore. Jesus Christ. Velgard, bye. Kibbs has to sit through 60 hours of gay therapy. A large price was paid that day. I skipped those streams, not gonna lie, says Grumpy. I have no desire to see Dragon Age murdered like that. You missed. The only thing I can say you missed was how incredibly infuriating, the experience was. You think you call
Like-
Grumpy Rat now, it would be changing your name to Rage Rat. Honestly, I can tell you this, Grumpy. All you need to know is it was a skin suit. It was like the name of a thing, but it had no correlation to the thing you remember. It was completely disconnected. So in that regard, you wouldn't find it that offensive in that regard, but the fact that it bore the name Dragon Age Veilguard was, I think, the most offensive part about the entire experience. Well, not the
Yes.
Veilguard part, but the fact that it bore the franchise name of Dragon Age. I will say, it gave me a new perspective of Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda was not a great game. It was not a good game. It was a game that tried and ultimately failed. But I can respect Mass Effect Andromeda far more than I can ever fucking respect Dragon Age Veilguard. A game that didn't fucking try. A game that was a pile of fucking shit. I played some bad games in my day, and let me tell you, chat, Veilguard's up there. It's up there near the top. Oh my god. Ah, man. It's wild. I completely forgot that game existed until this conversation. That game has no relevant staying power. It's just bad. The characters are bad.
On every level.
The writing is bad. Everybody's a gay queer is just really cringe.
The combat was boring hack and slash.
Oh god. And like each zone was really annoying. It had the BioWare design of hub worlds, but like in between the hub world and the place you had to go was a in between world. They had to traverse to get through and then like do puzzles and stuff. And it was really cumbersome. It was a game where you had to press a button what felt like all the time. And I think that was the problem I had with it. The fact that I was physically thinking about the fact that I have to press buttons to do stuff. When you're at that point, that's not good. It means you're so disconnected from the experience, you don't even want to engage. It was press button to go to place to get through hell. Oh my god. Long may that game rot in hell. Either way, that's why I'm not very confident about the upcoming Mass Effect. Now, I do know that they did fire most of the Veilguard people. But did they fire all the leadership? That's the question. Because the only way new Mass Effect's going to have a sliver of a chance in hell is if they fire every goddamn human being that is associated with Veilguard.
I think it was just a straight downsizing of BioWare. So I doubt many of them, if
Veilguard
any,
was
got
so
lasted.
bad that BioWare actually lost the ability to work on Star Wars: The Old Republic Online. It's now handed to a different little studio that works on it now. Maybe that's why Tauber says it's getting better. I don't know. Maybe it is. I will still point out
No
that
idea.
SWTOR is really fun, but for those who do try it, bear in mind that once you get to the expansions, they're kind of a chore to get through. Sort of like how Final Fantasy XIV's opener is a bit of a chore. Once you get through it, though, it does get better. You just kind of have to hold your nose a little bit and get through the stinky part. It's not like it's really woke or anything. It's just the writing's a bit stupid, is all it's saying. It's like, my eternal emperor, he's so scary and stuff. It's like, okay, if you say so. He's super scary. All right, so either way, I hear it is better now. Famous claim in this chat. Yeah, I know, right? It's because I did something to somebody where I said it's better now, and I lied. Listen, I'm honest. I'll tell you when I lie. True. So what? He's just an honest kid. It's like Honest Abe. Call it Honest Kib. Yeah. It's kind of like Honest Abe, isn't it?
Versus Isaac Gibbs. Versus X'd Out.
Listen, if it's
many
funny,
times.
it's worth it, okay? If it's funny, it's worth it. Alex says Mass Effect will only be good if it's not made by that shell that calls itself BioWare. That requires actual talent? Yeah, probably.
The
Yeah,
eternal
no,
troubles of BioWare are...
We're not done with Final Fantasy XIV Online, Grumpy. We actually have to play it again. We have a thumbnail ready and everything. I need to wait until I get through the other requests, though, that are behind it. Once we're through it, though, we're going to probably be doing it. If I had to guess, Final Fantasy XIV Online, the next stream will be probably this summer, based on the speed at which we're going through all the paid requests. Yeah, probably summer. Hopefully early. We're going to be catching up a lot on these thumbnails. I've allocated a lot of my fat little artists to working on thumbnails. Even Sala. Oh, goddamn. But yeah, that's going to be the next Final Fantasy 14 online stream. I only know that there's one expansion that's not so good. It's the one with the furry character that I was warned about. But that one we don't have to worry about for a while. That's super far away from where we are. Let's see. Chatfish will be tickled. Yes, that's true. They will be. Like, eh. All right, next article. This one hurts me. This is an article I don't want to do, but I have to. Okay, let's do it. Let's get it over with. It's going to be painful for me. All right, so MechWarrior Studio. Piranha Games lays off 30% of its employees. It makes me sad. But honestly, it's one of those things where, like, Piranha Games,
Not surprised.
you don't listen. And so, like, you had this coming. It just makes me sad because I think MechWarrior deserves far better than what it's getting. And I feel like Piranha Games and Russ Bullock, the CEO, has done a horrific job with, like, leading this fucking thing. Like, it feels like it's just, we deserve so much more than what Piranha Games is giving us. And the fact that Russ Bullock has led Piranha Games to this point where they lost 30% of its employees is just tragic. Because it really just sort of feels like the end for MechWarrior as a franchise. And that kind of makes me really sad because I like Battletech a lot. But either way, let's continue with the article. Russ Bullock, the CEO of MechWarrior, developer Piranha Games, has confirmed that the studio has imposed layoffs, saying that roughly 30% of its employees have been let go. That is unfortunate, and my heart goes out to those people. Even if I don't like Piranha Games, I still think that I don't want people to be jobless. Hopefully they find new places, better places. The layoff first came to light on LinkedIn via Games Industry, where multiple employees reported being let go. At least 2 of them said the layoffs came as part of an economic restructuring. Yeah, economic restructuring, key. Nice fucking phrasing there. At the company, while Piranha itself hasn't made any announcements about the layoffs, Bullock confirmed the cuts in post on X. Not accurate, Bullock wrote, in response to a percent claim that 60% of the studio had been let go. It was 30% of the staff, which was a horrible day, no doubt, but we do still continue to work on DLC. This breaks my heart and honestly was entirely avoidable. Like, entirely avoidable. But we'll get to that in a second. Bullock told PC Gamers that 17 employees were let go. Damn. In this round of layoffs, but said that MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries DLC, it announced in March, is still slated to launch for May. We're also working with another MechWarrior product for release this fall, Bullock said. Tough week, but we continue to adapt to the significant changes in our industry and continue to ship ever-improving products. No doubt it is more difficult each year to see very far down the road and what might be in store, but for now, we continue to develop and release products we're proud of. The longer-term future of MechWarrior, at least in its current iteration, seems less certain. However, I honestly don't know how long we will be able to keep the ship sailing, MechWarrior 5 Clan's narrative director Chris Lowry wrote in another thread confirming the cuts. This is such, like, oh my god, it pisses me off. So let's see. It's been a small miracle that Mercs has received 5 years of post-launch support. As it is, very few other single point of purchase games get that amount of post-launch support in our industry. But those of us still around are still committed to continue to support MechWarrior as long as we're still allowed to do so. And this is Chris Lowry's official post, and I kind of want to see it. So let's read it. Chris Lowry says, "It's been a brutal week, and while I'm not as free to say things as some others, to those who have reached out, yes, I'm still employed, and yes, I'm still working on MechWarrior. Layoffs are never fun, and I had to say goodbye to many longtime friends and colleagues. That's just never something you want to see, honestly. Many of them that were there when I started with PGI. I've made inquiries to some of my industry friends outside PGI, but I won't lie, the video game industry is brutal right now. I wish them all the best, and my door is always open for them to reach out if they want to. As for us still around, there has been doom and gloom about us and MechWarrior for many years. Last year's round of layoffs hit us harder, but we still went on to make the best-selling, highest-rated DLC we've ever released. And that was all thanks to the community support. I honestly don't know how long we will be able to keep the ship sailing. It's been a small miracle that Mercs has received 5 years of post-launch support, as very few reach this point. And he says, but those of us still around, yep. And I want to thank everyone impacted. Okay, that's all, pretty much everything there. I wanted to see the whole thing. Laid off 30. This is the second round of layoffs at Piranha Games in just a year. Parent company Enad Global 7 laid off 38 Piranha employees in January of 2025. Just a few months after the release of MechWarrior 5 Clans, which again, we'll get to in a second. We gave Clans an 82% score in our review, saying it delivers strong stories, struggling young warriors, alongside best. So here's the issue, right? The issue is with their games is that they don't actually respond to, in my opinion, criticism. Maybe, or maybe they do. Maybe they just ignore everything I have to say. I don't know. I backed MechWarrior. I was pissed off when they fucking lied to us, and they did lie, and they pulled it and they put it on Epic, right? As a supporter, they betrayed me. They did. They lied to me, and they lied to many of us. I was there when it happened. I was there at the fucking Discord when it happened, and I left over that shit. The thing that really agitates me about this game is that MechWarrior 5 could be a great game, yet it is hamstrung by the inability to actually expand on it. It's the laziest game ever made. And it breaks my heart because MechWarriors is one of the coolest like franchise settings for like the BattleTech setting ever. And like Clans was genuinely just, this game's shit. If they give it an 83% or whatever, they're lying. And the people that mostly positive, like, they're coping. This game is shit. This game is garbage. Why is this game garbage and shit? Because it's literally just, the maps are literally just like a line. It's like, go here, and then like, go here. And it's like, just like a straight line. And the maps are super, like, narrow. And, like, the story is very mid. Like, not to be mean, but it's kind of not doing anything actually brave or interesting with the story. It's kind of just playing it safe and not doing anything fun. Like, it's not exploring anything that you would be like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like, it never does that. It never does that in its entire existence. It just feels lame. And it feels like they never do anything interesting. Like with the clans, you're a goody two-shoe clanner. You know, you're not, oh, the war crimes are bad, but you have like a choice thing, and it's like, it just doesn't matter. The game design isn't good. Like, they never actually explore the idea of like BattleTech in an interesting way. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to look at the new DLC because I'm going to tell you about that real quickly. So the new DLC is called Rain, right? I'm going to stream this one day because I keep picking up the DLC because I intend to stream it, but I just struggle to find the will to play this game. It is a struggle because I love these games and it breaks my fucking balls just fucking thinking about it. But like, fuck. So the big problem with MechWarrior I have is that fundamentally it misunderstands what makes BattleTech BattleTech. It's the tourist definition, if that makes sense. So what is BattleTech? BattleTech is about mechs. It's about mechas and stuff like that, and that's cool. It's big stompy robots, right? Cute, nice, cool. But what is BattleTech really? BattleTech is more than just about stompy robots. It's kind of like, for the modern sense, for those who understand it, Game of Thrones, if you've never understood this, is very similar to BattleTech. It's sort of like neo-feudalism in space with mega corporations supporting major houses and dynasties. It's a complete dystopian hellhole, is what it is. But the idea of it is that gameplay-wise, what's cool is that you're a mech. Mechs or battle mechs are like these advanced pieces of machinery that are ancient war machines that have been around for hundreds of years. And they don't really know how to produce them as much anymore. And they're kind of becoming like lost tech almost because they're kind of regressing. The issue that this game has and that every MechWarrior game has kind of had and that Piranha Games has made is that it doesn't ever feel like that. It doesn't feel like we're regressing. It doesn't feel like this is lost technology. We kind of feel like we're modern. It's like they don't understand that we're on the verge of a societal collapse, like in terms of like some of these societies, like they're struggling to keep going. Like it's kind of decadent. It's not like Warhammer 40K where it's hopeless because they do come out. There's a renaissance that happens. following these things called the Succession Wars, which are huge wars that basically ravage the entirety of this thing called the Inner Sphere. The Inner Sphere is basically this amalgamation of what was once humanity united under something called the Star League, which was basically like, think of it as like Space Rome, right? Star League was super advanced, super cool. There was lots of stuff happening. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely moving in a good direction. There was a crisis in which the leader was killed. I'm not going to go into details because it's very autistic and we'd be here forever if I did that. Where basically the leader's killed and it leads to basically eventually it collapsing inwards on itself. The military fucks off and flees because the House Lords are now building their own armies, and the Inner Sphere rages and burns as it tears itself apart and wars to try to succeed the Star League. And none of the great houses are able to actually win. None of them are able to beat the other ones because there's this organization called Comstar that's basically kind of manipulating things just ever so slightly so that all sides can't really win out and become the new quote unquote Star League, or the new, I forget the title is, but it's like the great protector of the stars, or whatever, something. I can't remember the title that they're fighting over, right? But yeah. And then eventually the clans return and the military that fled returns, and they're like, they fucked off, but they fucked off and like things weren't good for them when they fucked off. They fucked off and they fell apart, and then they were reformed, and they were reformed crazy. And so they're like these like weird clans that are super advanced, that have more advanced technology, but they're super duper batshit insane because they're not like the people from the Inner Sphere. They're kind of nuts. They lost it out there, and they came back, and they're like carving up the Inner Sphere, trying to rebuild the Star League, and it's like this huge war that happens. Really cool, like stuff that goes on, and like technology begins to come back and resurface as they discover things, and the timeline starts progressing again, and they come out of the dark ages that were the Succession Wars for the few centuries they had them. Really cool lore, really cool setting. These games, this game in particular sucks at capturing that. Like, it doesn't get any of that across whatsoever. Like, all the mechs look like they're made by the same thing rather than they come from different factories from various sections of the sphere. Which, by the way, the sphere, or the Inner Sphere as it's called, is a speck on the galaxy. It's tiny. It's like not even that big. It's not like an arm of the galaxy. It's tiny. It takes literally a year to traverse from one end of the Inner Sphere to the other. It takes months to move around. It's slow. We don't have super fast travel, but we do travel pretty fast, faster than we do now. It's fucking cool as shit. And they don't do anything right with this game. They don't capture that. The mechs are all kind of the same art style, despite the fact that different battle mechs from different areas are supposed to have different like factories producing them that are automated, that produce these things, and they have different like entire looks to them and stuff like that. They're supposed to be ancient war machines that have been running forever, and so some of these things should be hundreds of years old and barely work. Like, and they don't really have that vibe. Like, these things are old. They kind of just look brand new. Like, even the art. And the artist is a really good artist. He's called like Broken Sword or Shimmering Sword or whatever. He's a great artist. But the issue is he has one art style, and it's milsim like. And so every battle mech is just the same art style. I don't know if they've addressed that with any of the DLC, but it's kind of the problem they all have. And the mechs don't really feel old or rusty. They don't like feel ancient. And at the same time, the other thing that's messed up is that it's mostly focused on mech combat and mech on mech combat. And while mechs are important in Battletech, there aren't like battle mechs aren't, they can actually be counted. There's actually divisions and how many they have, right? For each great house. There are not that many of them. There are lots of them, but there aren't that many when you think about it. So they're kind of rare. So mech on mech combat, when it happens, is a big deal. It's like two knights going at it. It's supposed to be a big ordeal. Well, in this game, it happens all the time. It's not special. Whenever your lance fights mechs, in fact, most times you're fighting mechs and occasionally tanks. And there's a mod that they made that has infantry, but it doesn't work the way it should. And it's official mod. Like, infantry should move in squads and like garrison buildings and stuff. And they claim that, oh, we couldn't get infantry to work, so we just have them run around randomly. They didn't fucking try. They were lazy. Like, it breaks my heart to say this, but like all these things, they fucked up every goddamn thing with this game. And I have very little nice things to say because it really felt like they didn't fucking try. And watching this company that is making this game that I love, or for the franchise I love, but not actually trying to do anything to actually capture that, is the most infuriating thing I've ever seen in my life. And I've been seeing it for years, where it's like, oh, we couldn't do infantry, so we made a mod, and it's like, okay, well, I installed a mod. What's the infantry like? They randomly are scattered all over the map, and they randomly shoot at you. And that's it. They don't move in squads. They don't do anything interesting because they made it for consoles. They went back on all their promises. They lied to us at every conceivable fucking corner, every turn. And so, like, that's not interesting. Do they have tanks? You know, kinda. They sort of drive around. They barely add new ones. They mostly focus on adding mechs. So, like, the thing that makes Battle Mech special in BattleTech is that it's combined arms. It's your mechs, there are tanks, there are planes, there are bunkers, there are battleships you fight, there are, big airships you fight. There's all sorts of wacky shit. You're cool because it's combined arms warfare. This game never really captures the combined arms feel. It rarely does. It rarely does. I play MechWarrior 4 sometimes to revisit it because I like that game. And MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries does a better job of capturing it. Because MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries has a mission in which you have to take a contract. It's more linear in that game because it's scripted, less procedural generation. No procedural generation. And you take a contract on a planet to defend a harbor. And the harbor is being assaulted by amphibious vehicles and airplanes and stuff like that, and mechs eventually show up and attack. But as you're defending the harbor, eventually the enemy starts sending fucking dreadnoughts, and you have to battle dreadnoughts while also fighting off aircraft and stuff like that, while the harbor's defense turrets are also firing and trying to defend it. It's cool. It's combined arms. There's another mission in MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries where you assault an installation joined by a armored column of battle tanks from your employer, and they're escorting you as you assault an installation of enemy forces at night, and you have to attack them before the mechs power up. It's super cool. And then there's another mission where you have to hold the line, and it's a pitched battle where you're joining, I think, Davian forces? I can't remember exactly, but you're joining like a huge mech army that's confronting another mech army, and you don't really have mech combat all the time in it, but when it happens, it's really cool. And so it feels like it's super epic because like it's paced with like fighting ground vehicles and helicopters and stuff like that. They don't have infantry in MechWarrior 4, sadly, which is a bit disappointing. But they have lots of ground vehicles, helicopters, boats, and other things for you to fight, and turrets and stuff. The problem is that they don't have hardly anything in MechWarrior 5 at all. Like there's some turrets occasionally randomly scattered around, and then occasionally there's like a random tank or two that'll attack you. But, like, there's not, like, armored cars. There's not, like, little jeeps and stuff. There's not, like, little APCs. There's no infantry. There's no, there's helicopters. I don't know if they've added aerospace fighters or anything, but, like, they don't add hardly anything interesting. Like, the combined arms just isn't anything. Oh, it's just agitating. And that's my frustration with this series. Ugh. I could rant all day about it, but just to give you like an idea. That's why it's so painful. This mod, this expansion here, this update, finally adds something, by the way. And it's like too little too late, right? This right here is battle armor. So in BattleTech, there's infantry, and then there's power armored infantry. There's also jetpack troopers as well. There's also units that are deployed via jet dropships to basically land on mechs and drop satchel charges on them and stuff like that. Assault jet infantry. But they don't have them. They're adding battle armors, or BAs as they're called, and battle armors are basically little power armored infantry that have little thrusters, and they can jump around, they can crawl on mechs, they can cut mechs up. They're pretty cool, right? And they're missing so much stuff. And they're finally adding something that isn't a mech. Thank God. Because, like, yeah,
After
you can
5
add
years?
you can add mechs, but like you really should add more stuff. Like, the only thing of interest in this DLC is this. Or is it? Where is it? 6 new, 5 new. Where was it? Ah, it's at the bottom, and it's got the least amount of details. This is the best thing in this DLC, right here. Because we need more things to, like, be combined arms. It's adding 6 new ground vehicles, thank Christ, and battle armor. When we should have had that, every DLC should be having new, like, tanks should be added, new helicopters should be added, gunships, new strike craft that can attack and stuff like that should be added, new artillery vehicles should be added, new fucking command vehicles should be added and stuff like that to fight and stuff. New squad should be added, like assault infantry. Infantry should be able to garrison buildings and stuff. And there's an easy way to make this work, by the way, performance-wise. I had a solution, but nobody listens. Just have the infantry move as a squad, as a unit. And so they move as a singular entity. Yeah, it'll look a little weird, but it'll be, better than having them randomly scattered everywhere. And then have them deployed via APCs, have them be able to get into buildings and they just fire out of them, they garrison like they do in Red Alert 2. So they do stuff. There's so many ways to make this work, but they don't want to try. They never try anything. And it breaks my fucking heart and how mad it makes me. Because, like, I love this series. I love Battletech. But, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
See, Star Wars is one of those things I'm used to it being raped, so I've gotten over it. Same with StarCraft, same with Warcraft, same with that. BattleTech was like the last series and franchise, because before BattleTech, Warhammer was destroyed in front of me, and then I was broken up about that. And the last thing to be ruined in front of me was BattleTech, and it was like, oh my God, another thing. It was like the last thing I liked that got fucking destroyed, and it's just like, it's so agitating, so fucking
It is.
agitating.
And I'll always reiterate, this game initially released in 2021. It's been almost 5 years, and look what we're at. Yeah, goodwill has been more than eliminated. It took them 5 years just to expand it just this little bit. It should be way more a lot farther along the lines than this. You could have released MechWarrior 6 with a whole better foundation in that amount of time. But no, they just been wasting their money and wasting their time. And yeah, I'm not surprised by the fact that they're hiring 30% of their staff. I'm surprised the company is still around at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if they just outright declare bankruptcy at this rate.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, they keep scraping by because they managed to weasel their way in. The thing about Russ Bullock is that he's really good at like weaseling, sort of like Todd Howard, but like he's got a crippling alcohol addiction, and so like he's not very competent. He's a decent talker, from what I can tell, and convincing people, so he's able to pitch ideas, but like he's kind of an idiot. But either way, let's see. Casovic donates $5 and says, thank you very much for your very generous donation. He says, they could have done a story in the era when Steiner and House Davion united, more than half the inner sphere. So much could have been done with that. I think they did do an expansion with that, didn't they? But it was not very interesting. It was kind of like not very well done. One of the DLCs, I think, touch it. But the problem with all the DLCs is that they're just not very good. And the other problem is they keep inflating the development costs of these games by adding silly things. Like they have that fan animation studio make like fan animation things, but they have them make animations for the characters when you should just have better writing. Like you can't afford it. Just do PNGs. I know it sucks. As somebody who wants the sun in the world, you got to work with what you got, my dudes. You got to work with what you got. And sometimes what you got ain't like a lot. So fucking make it work. But yeah, they never invest into anything. Fuck, oh, it breaks my balls. What it does, Jesus. Oh, you gotta turn on KSFX animated bucket fishy. Good. What is on? It's in the bottom right. See it? Or do you have another one? Cassie knife, probably. There we go. It's in the top right now. There. Good. The Dragon Gambit was a Curita DLC, not Fedcom. Was it? I can't remember. Oh, maybe they didn't
I don't
have one.
remember.
I just remember all the DLCs and the quests they added being very kind of so-so. There was like one quest in the game that was actually really good, and it's where you have to stop an atomic bomb from basically a nuke is stolen, and the Lyran Commonwealth, which is House Steiner, is basically cracking down on it, and it's like a huge battle, and there's airships flying overhead, and it's the best mission in the game. And it's got like mechs moving on the ground and tanks and armored vehicles moving up, and you have to move up through these rocky crag and basically get up this hill to this plateau on this mesa to fight on top of where the enemy force is. And it's the best mission in the game because it's like using combined arms. Again, Battletech is at its strongest when it makes big combined arm movements. It doesn't need to be like big. Like the harbor mission I talked about was just the harbor defenses, which was just a series of defenses and a control tower that you had to defend against like an amphibious assault of aircraft and boat amphibious vehicles, as well as like actual battleships and stuff, which was pretty cool. Followed by aerospace fighters like strafing you. Again, you can make these work. but it feels like they really, really are lazy with it. And relying on the procedural generated missions really just is one of those things like, eh. Like, yeah, the procedural, but like often it just feels like, it's the same shit all over again. Walk over map. Rub my face against a wall of a building. Then leave. Then leave. Oh. It hurts, Skib, it does. But enough lamentation. My pain is over. It's now time to open up the next article. We are almost done.
I think we have one more left? Or
We have 2.
Oh, 2. Okay.
2 actually left. One might be good. I've not really been following it. So let's see. Let's do the Nintendo one and get that one out of the way with first. There we go. So, Nintendo wins a $2 million lawsuit against...
Oh, no, that was to
we
support
did
the other one, where someone asked about a
Oh,
modding
okay.
lawsuit, and I was looking... So, you
So this is the last one then. So, Tainted Grail is a game I tried. I enjoyed it, but I ended up taking a break from it. I got about 20 hours out of it, and I didn't beat it because I found out from my friends that the further you get in, the Act 3 falls off. However, the Tainted Grail devs said that they're going to fix that, and they're going to be going back and trying to redo Act 3 to make it better. So that's why I haven't touched this game. I'm just letting it cook. And Tainted Grail, if you're curious, is basically like it's like a Bethesda-style RPG, like Skyrim, kinda. But it's a little bit more interesting, at least in my opinion. It does have some things that are a little less interesting, but I like it because it feels like it's got a much stronger narrative. It's a little bit on the jank side, though. Forewarning. But it is very charming. But yeah, they're working on another expansion, it looks like, called Merlin's Tomb. Or is it? Free
Merlin's
DLC.
Tomb, I think.
Oh, it's just a free DLC thing. Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Alright, so let's take a look.
Yes, it's me again. And I hope this time you'll cooperate. Just like before, no food until we're done here.
Is this an April 1st thing they did? Yeah, it must have been.
This has got to be...
It's the little creature thing in the game.
I've been waiting a long time for someone to find me. And you? Why are you here? Then we have something in common.
So that you, what, you can... Is it just an April 1st, or can you actually play as the little creature? It almost looks like they tried to make it.
I'm told this
Looks
path
very
leads
jank,
to the
though.
beach. I'll test your mettle in combat.
Developers doing... Alright, I get it. I got the joke.
There's a
5
second
days ago.
video.
I don't know if I want
It
to.
keeps going down.
Or is that actually the real meme? Ah, so that was the April 1st thing.
At last,
Thank God.
we stand before one another. It has been a long while, my old friend. You could have had everything, Arthur. It was within your grasp. Are you ready to face the weight of choices you never made? In the paths you allowed to wither? Tell me, are you prepared to behold your life as I have seen it? Arthur, all has been said. Are you prepared now to stand in judgment? Now do you see what your hesitation wrought? The Red Death spreads again, and with it comes fear, chaos, and annihilation.
That's cute. I'm glad that they're actually doing well and they're actually putting out some free content patches, which is nice. And actually fixing up their ending, because the third act I heard was not good. That's why I stopped playing, because I wanted to
Unpolished,
wait to see
and
if they
the
fixed
story
it.
wasn't as good.
Yep, they're going to be redoing the third act from what I was told by a friend. Now, if I was wrong in that, please correct me, chat. But I was told that, so I'm going to take it for face value because I trust what they say. But yeah.
Yep.
They also did like like another expansion thing. But yeah, this is a game I would kind of recommend trying the demo before seeing if you're actually interested in it. But yeah, it's an interesting game. If you liked Skyrim and you wanted a more story focused experience, or if you like Arthurian legend and mythos, it's actually not half bad. It's actually kind of interesting. They still need to fix the summon pathing. Yeah, I can imagine. I just found the necromancer thing kind of funny, where you can get the necromancer to be like, oh, wait, you get him to convince himself to experience what it's like, and then he becomes a zombie. That was funny. But either way, I think that now safely wraps up all this news articles, chat. Wow, look at them, they're all happy. Happy little fishes. Isn't that right, chatfishes? Are you happy little guys? Like, hell fucking yeah. Hell fucking yeah. We happy little fishes. No? Not happy little fishes?
I guess they're happy little fishes. They're just too shy to admit it. Yeah, but just saying, I'm probably gonna play this game again at some point. Also,
I'm gonna
did
wait
have
until
fun in
they
the first
fix
act.
the third act. I'm not gonna touch it until
Yeah.
then. I'll let them do all the free patches and stuff then, and then I'll come back to it then, because I want to wait until they fix the third act. Because I don't want to have to start over from the beginning every time. You know, I want to see what the ending is. I want to know about what King Arthur, what he did, and like what happened. What the heck? No spoilers, Chatfish. Because I don't know. Because I didn't beat the game. I only played 20 hours of it, and I certainly didn't get that far. I was mostly fucking around. But yeah, I'm letting them cook, and then I'll come back and give them another fair shake when they're ready, when they hopefully got the jank down. Because yeah, the big thing is if Tainted Grail guys can really get their shit together, they actually can compete with Bethesda, in my opinion. They actually can. They just need to get their quality control down. They've got ideas, they've got story ideas, but they really, really, really need to hurry up and like get their quality control under control. I said control
Yeah,
twice,
because
and I'm mad.
Because mechanically speaking, in terms of making builds and from a mechanical standpoint, yeah, this far surpasses anything Skyrim ever could be. Because one, magic is actually viable. You can do all sorts of fun builds, progression and builds, and so much mechanically speaking that's flat out better. They just need to own their skills, expand upon it, and just improve as a studio. And it looks like they're going that way, and that they're not just abandoning this of let's polish this up first and then take what we learned and improve upon it. And I hope they, even if they're not doing another Tainted Grail 2, maybe just do a different IP or do a different universe and just build upon it. But I hope they stick with this format.
Yeah, I think they've learned a lot. Grumpy says he's never played it. It does have a demo. I would recommend trying the demo. The demo is actually pretty decent. I think the prison section is pretty good. But if you want to just like not try it yet and just wait, or if you're not interested, you never know. But yeah, if you like Elder Scrolls style games or RPGs with like a single player focus and story and characters and choices you can make and like stuff like that, as well as like different builds, it's actually rather interesting. It's a different world. It's sort of a take on Arthurian mythos. And I really like it, like the overall idea of it. And I really like the King Arthur character quite a bit. He's like my favorite character in it. He's got a lot of gravitas. But I'm not going to spoil anything. But it does have a demo, and the demo takes place, I think it's, the prison demo. So you can just try it and see if you like it. There's different approaches to the like thing you can do in the different paths. And if it's something in your interest, you might actually check it out. You might like it. But I will warn you, it's a little bit of that jank type. If you remember with Slav jank or Jap jank or Amero jank, for like when games have that, or Euro jank games, it's got a little bit of jankiness to it. But you can definitely tell that these developers They're really trying. They are trying their hardest with this game. And I hope they succeed. But they need to get their third act finished. Because if it's still a third act that I was told by Reggie and Chumpus. Was Reggie and Chumpus? I don't remember. You, Reggie, and you?
Me and Hans beat. I know me and Hans beat it.
Yeah, because you guys were telling me that like I should wait because the third act is a
Yes.
bit rough. Like
It's front loaded heavily.
Yeah, because the first act is really strong, but it starts to fall off in the second act a little bit, and then the third act apparently they fell apart. It wasn't very good, and apparently the developers said they're going to try to rework it and bring it in line with Act 1. It's just apparently they ran out of resources when they were working. Not particularly, an excuse for that.
Performance wasn't that good. You got a lot of stuttering. Quality of the quality of the crest wasn't as good. And at that point, if you knew how to build, you were just obliterating everything like an utter demigod, and there was very little challenge in many ways. It was disappointing.
Yes. Also, the song they got for the trailer was a weird choice. It's a cool song, but it's actually about Norse mythology, and well, that doesn't really make sense with Niflheim. Because it mentions Niflheim.
Yeah. If they're gonna do Arthurian legends, I'd rather they stick to music that's relevant.
He was the fire. He was the man.
Because I'm not that familiar with Arthurian legend, but a lot of the monster designs I really liked, and a lot of the fantasy elements. YouTube's not crashing.
Hey,
No, it crashed on my end.
I found my main summon spell in the first 10 minutes after the tutorial. Death the Mythic. He's like, eh. Yeah, the one thing I will say is if you like Elder Scrolls style of exploration, where exploration is rewarded, this game, at least from my experience, holy crap. I found a chest underwater in a place I never thought I would. Because I accidentally fell. And I found like an underwater tunnel, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It was like a whole thing, and it wasn't tied to a quest or nothing. It was just random little thing. So the map editor or the level is really good in the sense that exploration feels like it's actually rewarded here. That's one thing.
The
I'll
puzzles are
say
also
that-
well designed. It still respects the intelligence of the player, but there's not like, well, there are some of the better designed puzzles. Is all I'll say.
Yeah, I will say the combat is a bit basic though. Like it's not gonna like blow you away. It's not then revolutionary.
It's just a step above Elder Scrolls, where it gets to it has the basics.
It has
It's definitely a
dodging
step-
as a mechanic, which is like much like Skyrim doesn't really have dodging. Like you kind of can, but like it's not like a thing.
Yeah, the melee combat also is let's face it, it's not that impressive in Skyrim. It feels a lot better with Untainted Grail, where if you parry or dodge or strike.
I would say the combat
feels
in the
better.
game is good. It's serviceable. It's entertaining, and there's room for experimentation. But don't expect it to be like, "Oh, this is definitely
No groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's definitely following tried and true conventions. I think the tutorial honestly speaks for the game itself. If you like the tutorial, or not the tutorial, sorry, the demo will actually tell you whether or not you like this game. I tried the demo, and that's what convinced me to try it. But I was very disappointed to find out about the third act. I'm going to wait to cover it again once they've redone the third act. Once they've done that and addressed the problems of that, then I'll give it another shot. But yeah, that's that. All right, chat. We've now gotten through all the topics. Thanks for your generous donation. We will be raiding into the next stream, where I'll be attempting to see if I can't fulfill my paid obligation of the Trump run and the Fire Rises. I have not done particularly well. I am very much struggling. So we'll see you over there in a couple minutes, chat. For those that don't follow us over there, you have yourself a fantastic day. Thanks for your very generous donations, chat. And we'll see you soon. See you shortly, fishies. Bye.
Yep.